Welcome in, Hail Varsity Postgame Show. I'm Ravi. That's Rico and Austin joining me as Nebraska falls to Utah in the Las Vegas Bowl, 44-22. It started fun. For a minute there. Like, first quarter was pretty cool. It got less cool after that.
That is true. 14-4. People forget this game was 14-14. That was a really fun time.
It was 14-7 at one point. Even.
That is true.
Nebraska was leading. Leads are fun. I don't know if you remember what those are like, but leading is fun. Being tied is also okay. 44-22, less fun. Significantly less fun.
Being close within a score is pretty fun. Leading by a score is even more fun. Stopping a team from passing the ball down the field consistently is pretty fun. Not letting a quarterback run for 30 plus yards is pretty fun. You know, there's a lot of fun things that Nebraska forgot how to fun.
All right, let's get all this out of the way because there's going to be people bringing up a lot of other type of comments and commentary. Second quarter obviously killed Nebraska, right? Our good friend Michael Bruns posted this, the second quarter only summary from Utah, Nebraska. 17-0 in favor of the Utes, 198 total yards to 17. The rushing attempts 16-6, 62 rushing yards to 1, 136 passing yards to 16. And then, of course, 10 first downs for Utah in that quarter as well. They possessed the ball for nearly twice the amount of time that Nebraska had, and Nebraska punted 3 times. Utah did not, all in the second quarter. Not great. Not a perfect performance there in the second, especially when you come off of what you did so well in the first. And truthfully, Ravi, maybe you have a better idea. I don't know what changed. I don't know if Utah figured it out. I don't know if it was the unscripted plays like we saw online. I don't know if it was a different type of shift or a different mentality, or if Nebraska just went lax. But whatever it was, it got away from them quick.
Yeah, I think the big thing for me, and typically it wouldn't have been 2 full drives of scripted plays. Like, I mean, that isn't typically how it happens. I could be wrong there, but the second drive at the very least does not appear to have been scripted plays. I don't really buy into that narrative. And what I do kind of buy into is I thought Nebraska on the first couple drives did a much better job staying on schedule early with the running game and some of the other things they were doing, and that allowed them to get into rhythms, and that just didn't happen after that for whatever reason. My initial gut is that Utah really just decided, hey, it doesn't really seem like they want TJ Lateef to have to throw the ball a ton, so let's load up on the running game and just see what happens. And it's this TJ's 4th career start, his 5th game. I guess he played half the game against a USC, so it's 4.5 games there. Just didn't seem like he was in a place where he was ready to take on that type of responsibility. And I do think I am curious how much he practiced leading up to this. When I heard that this was the first week he was a full participant. I don't know if that's true or not. But he obviously did not look comfortable in terms of leading the team through the passing game. His numbers don't end up terrible. They're okay, not great throwing the ball, but it seemed like Utah said, hey, if you want to beat us through the air, you're more than welcome to. And Nebraska wasn't capable of that. And it got difficult at a certain point for Nebraska to run against what Utah was trying to do defensively. Now, they probably needed to be more persistent. Like, that being said, they probably needed to stick with it to a larger degree, since that was the thing that was working so well. And you probably see the same things that Utah does where TJ is struggling, but they probably also see him do well in some of these areas during practice and things like that. Now, when you give up 310 yards to Devin Dampier throwing the ball, like, maybe that's why he looks good in practice too. Like, secondary was pretty bad today. I know you're missing Deshaun Singleton. I know they played around with a bunch of different guys back there. I thought some looked better than others. I didn't think anybody looked particularly good for most of the game in the secondary, but obviously you're looking at 535 yards of total offense for Utah. I think it's a little funny sometimes because people are like, oh, the defense is dreadful. The defense, it's like, yes, that's why they fired their defensive coordinator. That's why he got fired.
Well, and I think That's such a thing too in this game that, you see the tweets online that people were like getting frustrated that the defense wasn't getting the stops they did. Yeah. Did you not watch this season? Like,
Yeah.
what did you think was going to change over the course of 4 weeks? And I know we talked about this in the pregame, like what can change, it's alignment, it's assignments, all that other stuff. I mean, bad habits show more often, even if you're trying to correct them, when you've had bad habits being practiced and taught to you for so long, right? Like you need a complete course correction, and you don't learn that in a 4-week span in the month of December. I thought that they actually did have some moments here and there, and especially in that first quarter. Listen, we can all remember the first 15 minutes. That felt great. Like the first 15 minutes, even though they were giving up touchdowns, there were some moments here and there that you're like, okay, you can see where effort, technique, alignment, and some guys were making some actual decent plays, like behind the line of scrimmage. RVP got his name called for the first time in a while. Like, we hadn't heard that name since Northwestern. And then the second, third, and fourth quarters come about, and Utah just exposed all of those bad habits from Nebraska, and they went back to their old habits, and it just completely unraveled from there. At least that's what I took from it, especially post first quarter for the Nebraska defense.
Yeah, so the first quarter for both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively, they were both, for Nebraska, they looked really good. You score 2 touchdowns, you only give up 1 touchdown, you force them to punt. That was all in the first quarter. That first quarter, you're up 14-7, feeling really good. The offensive line is moving bodies. The defensive line is creating havoc. They're stopping the run for the most part. The quarterback run wasn't killing them yet. And then, like you said, the second, third, and fourth quarters happened, and things kind of went awry for Nebraska on both sides of the ball. And there were, like you said, some instances where the Huskers looked pretty good on offense, on defense. On offense, it took until the fourth quarter for them to even get a first down, I believe. So that was really tough. But defensively, there were some flashes, some moments, but it was all overshadowed by giving up first downs on long third down attempts, or allowing the quarterback to just roam free, or letting a tight end beat your number one corner. Like I'm not allowing it. That was a great toss and a great catch. But it just a lot of frustrating things. And like you mentioned, it's some of the ugly things from the regular season rearing their ugly head.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's probably something I didn't give enough credit to for Utah is their particular offense is not a good one if you're struggling with eye discipline and run fitting and things like that, right? Like it is.
Listen, I'm in that boat too. This morning I said like it's going to be run left middle. I did not anticipate or really look back on how many times it was jet sweep this way, misdirection one way. They did incredible trying to get eyes in the wrong direction every time.
The movement was crazy.
And that's what they do. And I should have given more credence to that. I probably gave too much credence to it appears the head coaching situation did not bother them much at all. That appears to be clear. This is, I think, a really difficult team to play when Nebraska struggles with the things that they do defensively. And if they had played a team that doesn't put you in conflict as frequently, maybe it looks a little bit different. Maybe the improvements that they may or may not have made over the bowl prep would have been able to show, but that obviously isn't the case, right? I do feel like, even though I was optimistic this morning, like we did say on the tape, like it was on the table that like it would play out exactly how Vegas thought it was going to play out. Mm-hmm. And it was a little worse than that, obviously, but I don't know. Like I get frustrated because like, I don't enjoy this either. I don't know if people have this strange, like, because I'm optimistic, if people think like, oh, well, Ravi loves this and, oh, you have a good time. Like, no one likes this. This sucks. I'm tired of watching it too. Okay. But here's a couple things that I know for a fact. Number one, all you fire Rhule people, he's not going anywhere. For good or for bad, he's not. There's like $70 million of buyout money left on that contract. He's not going anywhere. Nebraska's not Texas A&M. They're not eating that. So whether you like him or not, either like if I know something's not changing, I either say, okay, I'm not going to be involved in that anymore, or I have to find a way to believe in the thing that's happening, right? Those are my only two options, because Rhule is not going anywhere anytime in the near future. It's just not happening. Nebraska's not eating $70 million of contract. Even if they could, they wouldn't. And I don't know if they can. That's a huge number. That like there's 3 programs in the country that can eat that. Okay, so that's number one. Number two is if I don't think Rhule's the guy and I know he's not getting fired, like, what good does it do me to just continue to be like, oh, well, he's never going to figure it out? I don't know, maybe. But here's the other thing I know. Nebraska hadn't finished over 500 in 2 consecutive years in over a decade, and now they have in a harder conference. I don't know what to tell you. Like, I get that this looks horrible. I hate it. Like, I can't tell you how long that third quarter felt. It felt like it lasted forever. Like, I kept looking up, and I'm like, it's still the goddamn third quarter.
Mm-hmm.
And I could not believe it every time I looked up. I'm like, nope, okay, we got to be into the fourth quarter by now. Still no. Every commercial break was just after a score. It wasn't after the quarter break. So I'm just sitting here, and I'm going, okay, well, here we go. We've got a long time of this to continue watching it. So I don't want there to be any misconception that I'm sitting here and being like, oh, yeah, this is, this is great, and they're heading in the right direction. This is also unequivocally the best 2-year stretch they've had in over a decade. So what am I supposed to do with those two things? The last 3 weeks, god-awful, hated it, right? Or last 3 games. It's been, 1 month and a half, right? But the previous decade before the last 2 years, also god-awful, hated it. Yeah. So what am I supposed to do with that, right? Well, those are the two sides that are competing right now that are, by the way, you're starting a true freshman quarterback all over again. That's a factor that we just seem to conveniently ignore because we thought TJ Lateef looked good against Houston Christian. So, he's not a true freshman anymore. Like, what are we talking about? Like, yes, that's not an excuse for anything that happened in terms of the defense and the execution and just letting the wheels fall off and not showing fight in certain games. I thought they did better today in terms of showing fight, but not good enough, obviously, and getting down when and kind of rolling over a little bit when adversity hits. But at the same time, a true freshman quarterback does matter. There's a reason Utah just said, we're going to see if this guy can beat us with his arm. And it's because he was a true freshman quarterback. And there's a lot of that in there. And so, yes, I hated the last 3 games as much as everyone else did, probably more. But I'm also very well aware that, I do think this program is in a better spot than it was 4 years ago. And so I don't know what to do with those two things being true at the same time.
So to hit on a couple of those notes from what you're saying, I want to start where you finished at, because looking back at the last 3 blowouts, yes, I get it. Like, it's frustrating. Obviously, like you said, it's not happy to be in this place, whatever.
And several of those people got fired, for the record. Yes. Sorry, go ahead.
The last 3 teams that Nebraska played in these blowouts and everything, when they were starting a true freshman quarterback and they had younger players on their roster. And again, I understand Nebraska has older players that start and are in positions and all that other stuff. Nebraska played 2 of the oldest teams in terms of classmen ranks and all that other stuff, in terms of 2 deep rosters in Iowa and Penn State in the Big Ten. And Utah, notably very old team. This is a very, very senior, junior heavy, even transfer laden team that had a lot of experience. And again, I'm not trying to make an excuse for that, but when you look at the youth and what they had to kind of go through and struggle with, if you were to reverse time machine Utah, who knows what this game looks like if it's truly, same age difference between the two and where their careers are. On what you're saying from the beginning, Ravi, comparison is a thief of joy. That is the toughest part of this entire argument, is because Nebraska and all of us across college football are looking at what this long rebuild is so far. And it is, because this year was, again, as frustrating as it can be, a 1-game improvement from the year before in terms of regular season wins. Obviously, the record finishes out the same at 7-6 from a year ago. You lose a bowl game instead of win it, but yet you still finish 7-5. You do get a clean non-conference slate as well for Nebraska. Yeah, you lose your starting quarterback halfway through the year, and who knows how that kind of changes everything. But because of the other success across college football, it's so hard for the Nebraska fan base and even the national pundits that want to see what's happening with Rhule and peg him for the year 3 success in the preseason and ask the question as to why it's being so slow, because of all the other rebuilds that are happening around Nebraska, specifically in its own conference. That's the toughest part. And that's what you have to sell. And the only people that believe in this process will be Troy Dannon and Matt Rhule, until either they decide that the process is not worth continuing, or if the process has finally proceeded and they're at the point in which they thought they were getting to. The process, to me, and the progress is still very much there and very much real. And I think you can still very much see that. And I mean, we saw 2 running backs today make very big impact plays. And I'll point out individuals. Yeah, whatever. I know the final result wasn't perfect, but the individuals that we had huge question marks coming into this game that said, oh, who's going to replace Emmett Johnson? A Heisman Trophy candidate, a guy that ran for more yards since Amir Abdullah. I would say the 2 running backs have me more confident going into 2026 about, okay, I feel good about where the running back room is. And if they add more pieces, great. I love adding bacon to my, chicken wrap. That'll be perfect. That's exactly what I want to see, I hear everything you're saying too, because it's so frustrating because it's not 8-4. It's not 9-3. It's not 10-2. It's not something you can squeeze and hold and say, there it is. That's the success we've been looking for. But it's progress nonetheless. And you can call me an optimist and you can say that I'm delusional and everything else. But until you realize that the Nebraska standard is slowly rebuilding and you can't look outside the windows of the car that you're already in, you're seeing everybody speed down you by the highway. You're never going to catch up to them. You'll never catch up. You got to be able to keep on your track and just keep plowing forward. And listen, if progress starts to go backwards, that's when I think more questions can be asked.
Absolutely. And listen, I'm guilty of this too, but I think one of the biggest problems and I think Rhule's tried to intimate this without just throwing people under the bus just entirely. But I think one of the biggest problems that we have as a fan base, and again, myself included, because I was guilty of thinking this as well, is that we were closer to being competitive than we were over the last decade or so. And honestly, longer than that. I remember, you want to go back to even like the end of Bo's tenure. So we're talking 15 years ago at this point. I felt unequivocally when Nebraska still winning 9 games that they were closer to 6 than they were to 11 or 12, right? Like they were dancing kind of through raindrops even at that point. Now that team had some things that this team could use in terms of their mentality and their toughness and things like that. So that's why they got to their 9 still instead of 6 or 7. They were also playing in a worse league, so that helps. But I think we all thought, it goes, I know we make fun of it, but it goes back to that best 3-9 team of all time and things like that, where you're competitive against every team but you just don't quite get it done. I think we've had this misconception and maybe from my part, even delusion that Nebraska was closer to competing before Rhule got here than they actually were. I don't know if we appreciate how much things eroded, and not just eroded, but I also don't know if we appreciate how much infrastructure other teams were building while Nebraska was eroding from what was the status quo even then. So not only do you then have to catch up, but then you also have to try and get an advantage somewhere again. And Nebraska didn't have that. Now, Rhule seems to think he's in a place where that is the infrastructure and the personnel departments and all that's in place now. We'll see. Right? We don't until the wins start to show up, we don't know. But what I will say is I think we were much further away from being competitive than we thought when Rhule was hired, which makes this harder to swallow now because we weren't realistic about the situation we were inheriting. It's like if you bought a house and you go in and you're like, it needs some cosmetic updates and, maybe some new appliances and we'll paint it and things like that. And you get in there and there's like, there's mold down to the studs. We have to take this thing. We have to gut this thing and start over. Right. Like you kind of get into the house thinking one thing and then you actually end up having to do something else. And it is unbelievably frustrating. Listen, this is all day, every day for us. I get it. Like this is as frustrating of a 3-game stretch as there has been for a while, because going into that 3-game stretch, there was actual real hope of like this thing could have gone very differently. Like 9 wins, including the bowl, felt very much on the table pre-Penn State, right? And to now have this be 7-6 and the way the last 3 ended up especially is a whole other mess that just brings this emotional baggage. I will say, and I interrupted you saying this earlier and I apologize, but a lot of the people responsible for 2 of those 3 games got fired.
Yes.
Right? Like for the people that want heads and blood and their pound of flesh, a lot of those people got fired.
You got it.
Like John Butler's not here anymore.
Yeah.
Terry Braden's not here anymore.
John Butler can't hurt you anymore.
Donovan Ryle is not here anymore. Like people got fired for the way the season ended. That's a real thing that happened that it seems like we just ignore.
Yeah.
And like, yes, I was optimistic that maybe 4 weeks with Jeep Wade and Phil Snow, simplifying things would lend to improvement. And it seemed, at least for a little while on the offensive line, that it did. But the fact is, Phil Snow is not your defensive coordinator next year. Your defensive coordinator hasn't started yet. Like, whatever you saw today wasn't part of what you'll see next year.
Yeah, the people who were commenting on like our Hail Varsity content, and they were just saying like, "Oh, what is Rob Orich's role today? Spectator?" Like,
yeah, he was there. He was on the sideline. Like, he was there to just see. He was there to see and watch the players and be like, "Okay, this is what I'm working with."
He had the same impact on today's game as Emmett Johnson. He was on the sideline and like just there. Like, that is, like, that's it. And so I understand. And those, hear me out. Those people rightfully got fired.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not saying they shouldn't have. For the way the season ended, heads needed to roll, and they did. My point is, Rhule's not going to be one of them, if for no other reason because of the contract, but also because, again, this is the best 2-year stretch Nebraska's had in a decade.
Yeah.
I hate how we feel right now. I do. And there's no way around that. There's also no way around this is the most successful 2-year stretch in a decade for Nebraska football. And I think that's the thing we're actually the most mad about, is that we are at a place where back-and-back 7-6 actually is real progress. And that makes us so mad, myself included. But, like, that's the thing we're actually mad about. Not that it's 7-6 in back-to-back years.
Mm-hmm.
We're mad at how it looked in the last 3 games. Totally understandable. But we're mad that this actually is progress. And we're sitting here, and you brought up, you know, the Signetti in the room, the elephant-sized Signetti in the room, of just being like, hey, we know that it is possible to do it that fast. But to be fair, we actually only know it's possible by Curt Signetti.
Yeah. He is literally the 1%. He is not the standard. He is the 1%.
Never happened for anyone else like this.
Like, it happened the 1 year for Michigan State, and then it went off a cliff. Signetti has shown that it's worked for 2 years, and this is the only time it's ever happened.
Yeah. And I mean, we said it this morning too, that I refuse to believe, and this was something that I tried to get MRI on, and I think I might have even asked you guys about it when we were talking about it before this game ever kicked off, and everyone was kind of, you know, hedging their bets on how much Nebraska was going to lose by and everything else, that people were going to be frustrated by a result like this no matter what. Like, if Nebraska lost by 3, if they lost by 30 or 300, this is exactly what was going to happen no matter what. And yet no one wants to realize every other factor that was coming into this game, pre-game, post-game, everything in between. I mean, literally the guy that I picked to maybe have a standout performance was on a scooter before the game even started. So, like, there were a lot of other factors that came into it. I don't make excuses for that, but I will say that if you think that this 1-game sample size in which Utah definitely outperformed Nebraska, and holy cow, newsflash for everybody, Utah was a better team than Nebraska all season long. Like, I don't know if you guys just
the number 15th ranked team in the country.
Like, holy cow, an 11-win team beat a 7-5 team. Color me shocked. Like, that's insane. But it's just one of those things that I don't understand the visceral reaction that comes out of this when we have watched Nebraska throughout this entire season, and you can see where the success has been, and everyone agreed with some of the moves that came on the offseason, yet they still come back and complain about the same things that were the issues in their bowl game, in which they are choosing to correct moving forward. And listen, I'll say this. I'll give a little bit of nugget, and I know you and DB hate this, Ravi, and you're going to hate this part of this Hail Varsity postgame. I get where the Fire Rhule people are coming from, not jumping off the boat right now myself. But listen, there's only so many more changes coaching-wise and the assistant staff you can make until the finger starts to point back at you. I don't know. I don't believe that we are there yet, but I understand where that sentiment starts to come from. And I know that that's something that people start to ask the question of, is how many other people get fired before it goes to the one person who makes the hires? And truthfully, I think you will know next year. You will know the difference in that 4th year. And I refuse to say that you can definitively say that there has not been progress after this 3rd season.
Can I say, like, the whole, like, everybody wants everybody fired and you want everybody's head on a silver platter? Like, thinking of the 3 teams that Nebraska played to end the season that they got blown out by, I understand Penn State is kind of the outlier there because they did fire their head coach, but Iowa and Utah, outside of Whittingham retiring and leaving and not coaching in the bowl game, these 2 teams, Iowa and Utah, have had the same coaching staffs, it feels like, for the last 30 years. Almost like these are teams that they have bad seasons. Guess what? They run it back and they know what they're going to do. They know how they want to do things. And that's how they improve themselves, is by fixing things internally. They're not going out of their way to go out and change things and fire somebody and go and get somebody. And I understand that maybe it's completely asinine to think that for Nebraska because of how bad things have gotten or how bad things were and how bad things looked on those sides of the ball or those rooms where Nebraska ended up firing their coaches. But when you look at successful teams, aside from like in Alabama when Nick Saban was there and maybe Ohio State, but even then they've had the same coaching staff for the most part under Ryan Day, like they keep those coaching staffs around. They bring their players in, they coach them up, they get them to play better, and they continue to succeed. Like, again, I understand that it's completely different with Nebraska because they've been bad, but it feels like they fired a coach or 2 every single year, and it's hard to make progress when your players are sitting there trying to learn something new every single offseason. You can't get better at something if you're learning something completely new.
So somebody in the chat brought up, and I think this is something we probably don't talk about in terms of the frustration with this year enough, and that is the Rhule year 3 thing, right? That everybody kind of bought into, and yeah, there it is, Funky Giblets.
Sorry, Rico.
So okay. The year 3 hype and things like that. There's a couple of things that I want to put in context here with the year 3 jump for Matt Rhule, and I'll point the finger at myself first. Also bought into it. Okay, so that's also on me. I'm going to give you the record of Temple the 4 years before Matt Rhule took over. Okay. 9 wins, 8 wins, 9 wins, 4 wins. They got fired. He took over the next year. So that is 9, 8, 9, 4. What is that? 17, 20. That's 30 wins in 4 years before Matt Rhule took over. Baylor, before Matt Rhule took over. I'm going to go back even a little further. 10 wins, 8 wins, 11 wins, 11 wins, 10 wins, 7 wins. That's 6 years, 4 of which had 10-win seasons before he took over at Baylor. My point being, so in the 3 directly before, you're at basically 30 wins there, or the 4 directly before, you're at 38 wins before he took over as well. So my point being, and as we all know, the 4 years that before he took over at Nebraska, we're sitting at 15 wins, somewhere 16 wins, however many Frost had in his time here. So my point being is it was probably misguided to believe in a 3rd-year jump at this place because, frankly, Temple and Baylor, as horrible as those situations were, Baylor worse, were in much better football condition before Matt Rhule took over than Nebraska was. They had won significantly more. Like, let that sink in for a minute. Temple and Baylor had won significantly more football games than Nebraska did when Matt Rhule took over those specific programs. So it would lead you to believe, and I know the landscape is different now, so you can do things faster or differently or whatever, but that would lead me to believe there was actually more work to be done to get Nebraska into that spot. So I will take blame on this for buying into 3rd-year hype. And I think Matt Rhule probably needs to take some blame because he talked a little bit about the year 3 jump at the beginning of the season as well. But the fact of the matter is the situations that he inherited, Nebraska was the least winning situation he inherited. And I don't think we talk about that very much, if at all. And so there was way more work to be done, in my opinion.
Sorry, I just saw the Rogers comment. How many wins did Indy have before Sig took? Signetti's a unicorn. There has been nothing like Kurt Cignetti, that I don't think there will ever be anybody like Kurt Cignetti again. I don't understand how he's doing it, aside from bringing his entire team from James Madison, who was an extremely successful program, over with him to Indiana. And, oh, those guys are good football players and he's a good football coach. Like, it just happened. I don't think it'll happen again. There is no other Cignetti. You can't compare Rhule to Cignetti. You can't compare any new head coach that's taking over a program. Comparing them to him is only going to get you upset and disappointed by whatever results happen.
I think the best argument you can make, though, in this argument that we're having, which is, I mean, I understand this is the Hail Varsity Postgame of like a blowout. So like, what else are you supposed to talk about? But like, if you look at all of the people who want to fire Rhule right now, right, and they are arguing about no progress, about how it's gone stagnant, all that sort of stuff. Yes, Nebraska can compare this to their past recent history of firing coaches. Is Rhule, so the next coach, let's say Rhule does get fired tomorrow, right? Like something crazy. Rhule gets fired tomorrow. Nebraska's in a much better spot than in the previous 3 regimes that preceded him. Right? Like Rhule has, I mean, that's a realistic part of this conversation, right? Like Rhule has rebuilt Nebraska to be a better job than when Scott Frost left it, than when Mike Riley left it. Bo, probably not. That's probably the best, like, that's probably the last end. But I mean, that's a decade. Like, we're talking a decade of putrid Nebraska football. And Rhule, again, if this whole scenario worked out and the fans with pitchforks had their way and they tossed him over the boat, they would still be a better job than when the past 2 coaches prior to Rhule would take the job. So in that sense, that's progress. I don't know how else, what else do you have to say to phrase it? Like,
yeah, I think so. For what it's worth, Indiana also had 15 wins. Nebraska and Indiana had the same amount of wins between Cignetti and when Rhule took over. So, like, yes, Cignetti's a unicorn. I don't know what else to do. Like, I don't know what else to tell you. Like, he is the biggest outlier in the history of college football, full stop. Like, that's the truth. So comparing anyone to Cignetti, like, I'm over it. I'm not doing that anymore. Mm-hmm. Like, you know me, I don't even like the guy. And
we just bring it up to get content out of you mostly. So
yeah, I understand that. But like, you can't sit here and just say it's not a real thing. Like, there's not another one to go hire. And I swear to God, if Nebraska had hired the James Madison coach, we'd have burned Memorial Stadium to the ground. Yes. And you know it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, that's true.
If they fire Frost and they go after James Madison's head coach, Kurt Cignetti, or however old he is, people would have lost their mind. Like,
yeah,
everybody made fun of
old JMU coach. We would have burned the stadium to the ground, and you know it. So don't come, like, unless you're willing to take those kind of risks, you can't live with the fact that you didn't get the reward from it. Like, that's not stop it. I'm done having the Cignetti conversation when we're talking about Nebraska. He's football Jesus, football unicorn, whatever you want to call him, and no one else is. This has literally never happened in the history of college football before, and it's probably not going to happen again. Now, the people that are talking about, need to embrace the portal and things like that, like, yes, let's have that conversation, right? Let's talk about things that are actually going to happen and can change or could happen, right? Because I can guarantee you Rhule's not getting fired. Already covered that. But what might happen? So what else is there to talk about? Yeah. He's fired multiple people responsible for the way things have looked. And now you can focus on the roster, right? I imagine there's going to be some reinforcements from San Diego State's defense, and hopefully including that Chambliss, the outside linebacker, who's really, really good. Like, there's Georgia Tech and South Carolina offensive linemen just coming out of our ears, just headed over to Lincoln. And like hopefully that's the case. Hopefully there is, I like Mekhi Nelson and Isaiah Mosey a lot. I thought that showed today. I mean, Nelson had 136 yards of total offense today. Mosey had 80 more on just 11 touches. Like, both those guys had good games. If you roll into the season with those guys as primary options, that's great. Give me a couple more for depth. Like, let's roll. Like, bring in some quarterbacks for competition and let the best man win. I'm like, let's talk about actual solutions here, because Rhule is not getting fired. So like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, that doesn't do me any good to exhaust that conversation.
All right. Well, I'll exhaust you in a different conversation then. And I don't want to get into necessarily like Dana Holgorsen and all the other stuff, because that's a rerun of the same tread of the same tire for what we've been talking about. What needs to come in at quarterback from what you saw from TJ Lateef over now a 4-game sample? Like we have officially seen, I think, enough of TJ Lateef that you can make a full assessment of what he is as a quarterback, as a player. And again, I've said this 100 times, many times, that whether it's internal, they definitely know Lateef's either limitations or what he can be as a quarterback to his max capacity. And if they were putting safety, railings and making sure that he had the baby guard on and all that other stuff on the offense, then that's a part of it, right? That they wouldn't unleash him completely. So what is that next step? I think a lot of people have agreed it's probably bringing in a quarterback at this point. Is it to compete for Lateef, or is it to essentially be quarterback one?
So I will, the only part of that I'll disagree with is they might know what Lateef was capable of today. I still don't think they know what Lateef looks like next year, right? Everybody talks about the greatest jump you make is from your freshman to sophomore year. We saw the development Dylan had from his freshman to sophomore year. So I don't think they know what Lateef is going to look like next year. So I'll start there. I think they like his talent a lot. Obviously, he wasn't there yet. Wasn't at a place where he was able to do what they needed him to do today or in the last few games, right? So outside of UCLA, Northwestern. But I think what I think happens at quarterback is I don't think they're going to bring in a guy as the starter, right? Like, I just don't think Rhule wants to play that game again. I don't think whether you think Lateef is the guy or not, I don't think they're playing the quarterback savior game again. I don't think they want to pony up $4 million for one guy. And not to tease anything here, but I've been working with some analytics guys at Hurrdat on a return on investment calculator on NIL quarterbacks. And Dylan was one of the worst in the country this year. There is a sweet spot that I'll kind of describe more in detail, but there's a sweet spot where it's like, you probably need to spend money on the rest of your roster rather than just loading up at quarterback. It's oddly a very similar argument I made with NFL teams in the offseason as well. But I'll roll that out later in January once we get into portal season a little bit more. But Dylan was one of the worst returns on investments in the country over the last 2 years, based on his production and what he was reportedly paid. So I don't think they want to go down that road again. I think you're going to bring in guys that they think are capable, whether they were starters at their last places or guys that they like their talent or like their tape or wanted to bring in that chose other places in the first place. I don't think they're going to bring in a guy that is like the de facto or anointed starter. I think it'll be a competition. Now, if they bring in two guys for a competition or if they bring in one guy and he competes with Lateef, I don't know. I actually think they might bring in 3 quarterbacks. I think you're looking at least one guy to compete with Lateef. Well, I mean, look at the room. There's nobody. It's just Lateef, basically. Like, there's nobody left.
Yeah.
I mean, after today, yes.
Transferring. Graham Stad's a senior. He's going to be on the coaching staff next year.
There is no 26 quarterback in the class. There's no young freshman.
Yeah, you're right.
You're basically taking one guy to compete directly with Lateef, at least, assuming Lateef is part of the competition, okay? It's easier if I assume that way, but it may not be the case, right? So one guy, direct starter competition. That's number one. Number 2 is somebody to replace basically a 2026 class quarterback. So probably a guy that was a true freshman this year and that they look at as a developmental type quarterback. And then someone probably halfway in between there. I don't know if that's a Gramstad type or like in terms of like a super experienced guy like that you don't necessarily want to hand the reins to, but if he needs to take over for a game or two, you feel pretty comfortable because they know the offense and, think
super emergency quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, think of those like old school, like think of those Texas Tech guys that didn't play until they're 50 or seniors or whatever. Like those types of guys where it's like, hey, this guy's gonna be a coach someday. He's really smart, knows the offense. We'll get the ball out on time. Things like that. That is sort of the group I think you're looking at is direct competition, young guy to replace the the 2026 class quarterback, and then someone's sort of in the middle between those two guys. I really like, I know people are like, well, what about like Aiden Childs? And that name has been thrown out there and stuff. I don't think Aiden Childs would go into that situation. And I don't think Nebraska, in terms of not being guaranteed playing time, and I don't think Nebraska is interested in guaranteeing anyone anything, because I think that's been part of the problem with, like, it's really hard to say, hey, everybody has to fight for everything they get. And like, this is a 100% like meritocracy. And if you don't earn it, you're not playing. They do that in certain areas, but it's really hard to look at the quarterback room and everybody knew, like, that's the starter the day he signed, right? Like, It's also impossible to turn down a legacy 5-star if he decides he wants to come here.
Yes.
So like, you're kind of in a weird spot there, but I do think that was part of the problem, is the most visible person on that team didn't really have to earn his way. Like, he didn't. Like, as soon as he walked into the door, he was the starter. And so, because let's be honest, Heinrich Harburg was not going to start last year. That just wasn't going to happen. That was not on the table. So I think that is something they are not interested in repeating. So whatever it looks like, I would bet heavily that there is a real quarterback competition next year. I think they'll spend on guys they like. I think they'll spend on high profile guys, in terms of guys that were highly touted or at least highly talented coming out of high school. It wouldn't surprise me if one of the guys they bring in is like a highly productive small school guy that maybe wasn't highly touted, but I think they'll bring in kind of a variety of guys at the quarterback spot, and whoever wins the competition wins the competition. You go from there.
I like that. And to kind of push back on somebody commenting on your talk, is saying that's stupid. Indiana, Miami, so many others do it that way. Those teams are quarterbacks away at the time of, like, however their team was built. They needed a quarterback, and that was really all they needed. Nebraska isn't a quarterback away from winning 9 games or 10 games or hell, even 8 games. Like, they need other pieces. You can't spend all of your. This is like if you're playing Madden on your PlayStation or your Xbox, you're not going to go drop $40 million on your quarterback and not get anything else, no offensive line to protect him and no defensive players, because then you run out of money and you're sitting there with a 99 overall quarterback and absolutely nothing else. Like, Nebraska has pieces on this roster. I think they have some really good players on this roster, but they are not just one quarterback away where they can go drop all of their money on one person to then go out and win X amount of games.
Well, then I'll add on to that too, because there's another part of this conversation that is that the transfer portal, it opens up 2 ways, right? In just a few days, you will know what the state of how the program is built under Matt Rhule, with how many players that we feel as a fan base positive about or would miss or have significant, impact if they left it via the transfer portal. You will know that in the next few days. Obviously, the quarterback has already moved on. That has been announced. He was not available as it was, even if he was going to be healthy for this game, as it turned out, whatever. But nonetheless, there are plenty, like you said, there are plenty of pieces. There are plenty of positive players that if they chose to put their name in, they would get a lot of good programs that would want them to be a part of their teams. And I think that I would be surprised if you see a couple of guys, high-profile names for Nebraska's roster, or guys that performed well today and then this last stretch of the year, that if they enter the portal, I'd be very surprised to see those names go in. And again, that's why I think it's not a quarterback away. There's still more pieces to go. There's still more development to do, and there's other things to include onto Nebraska's future roster plans. But the cupboard is not completely bare, and I refuse to believe that that is the case.
Yeah, I agree with you. And for me, it's not even about the money so much as it is the, like, mentality of how you put your football team together, right? Like, I think it's, somebody said, hey, we've got to, got to go get linemen on both sides of the ball. Agree, 100%. Like, I think it's about philosophically how you want to play football, how you want your team to think, how you want your team to act. And I think that just going and trying to find, just handing someone a job and saying, hey, this is our guy, this is the quarterback, and not having everything else in place is, I don't think, a recipe for success at this point in where Nebraska's at. Like, Indiana and Miami are in different places whether it's because of the rest of their roster or just where they are as a program. And I think it's much more, and Nebraska fans don't like this, but like when Iowa has been good, they have all their ducks in a row and they have all these pieces, right? And then when they take that extra step and become really, really good, it's when they have a quarterback who's at all competent, right? Like that's the difference. When Michigan, this is an example Nebraska fans will like a little bit more, when Michigan went from being just pretty good to a college football playoff team to a national champion is when they were able to go from Cade McNamara to J.J. McCarthy. Like, Cade McNamara was just a guy at quarterback, and the rest of the roster was really good. J.J. McCarthy was a very good college football quarterback that puts you over the top. So, like, to me, it's about philosophy on how you're putting the team together, not about, hey, does Nebraska – like, I think Nebraska at this point has the money to do both. I think it doesn't send the right message in terms of what you're trying to put your – like, what you want your team to be. Because, like, how many of these messages in here – no, Isaiah Hunter was hurt today. He did not play.
Yeah.
How many messages in here we're talking about Nebraska being soft, no passion, no effort, things like that? That's what I'm talking about. When you hand any guy a job, it's hard to instill those things in everyone else. When you're a program that hasn't won enough to just say, hey, this is what we do, this is who we are, right? When you're a program that hasn't won enough, especially recently, to do that, then it's really hard to hand any one guy a job and have it be cool with the rest of the team. Like, if that's not how you operate with the rest of the team, then it's a very undermining thing to do at your most visible position. So that's what it is for me, more than the money, more than anything else, is until you're at a place where a difference-making quarterback actually does make a difference, then you have to go about that spot in terms of a meritocracy the same way you do every other spot. That's why I think it'll be a competition in the offseason to see who the quarterback is. And yes, they're going to bring in multiple guys in that room. And I think whoever's the best man, they're going to let that guy win the job. And that's where it's going to end. I really don't think it's going to be hey, this guy is awesome. We're going to pay him $4 million. Here's the job. Like, I just don't think it's going to go that way.
Yeah. I
point Ravi. Hit the nail on the head. I don't know. You win that one.
Like, that's just not where Nebraska's at. Like, that's not where Nebraska's at. And again, it goes back to my point before where I think we have a hard time, myself included. I'm putting myself in this group. I think we have a hard time. Like, I think we have a hard time admitting to ourselves where Nebraska was truly at and where Nebraska truly has been in terms of how far away we actually are.
Mm-hmm.
Or how far away we've actually been, right? Like, I'm optimistic to a fault, and sometimes it is a fault, right? It makes me not see certain things, or I see things in the most favorable light possible. Like, I see the defensive line, and I go, hey, like, I think Keona Davis is really good, and I do think he's really good. I think Riley Van Poppel's really good and can be really good, but I tend to overlook, well, he took a year off, then that probably is not the easiest thing to just jump back in, right? There's the positive of it. There's the negative of it too, right? I look at Williams-Winnera. I go, that guy's super talented. I think that defensive line is going to be good. But yeah, he played 4 games last year, redshirted, and produced nothing at Missouri last year. So we're basically starting from scratch, right? So, like, that's the give and take of the optimism is, like, yes, I do think those things are possible. But, again, we saw it today with the Utah team where I'm like, hey, yeah, I think X, Y, and Z, and I didn't give enough consideration to, like, Utah puts you in conflict all the time. That's the thing Nebraska really struggles with defensively. That probably didn't get fixed in 4 weeks, even if the effort maybe did. And I didn't look at today and be like, oh, the effort was definitely fixed. I thought it was better, but I didn't look at today, and even the thing that I thought could be fixed wasn't fixed. But I didn't give enough consideration to the thing that wasn't fixable, and that was, hey, you got to have guys with better eye discipline to be able to handle this particular type of offense that is going to that's going to put better defenses than Nebraska in constant conflict all day long. So, like, that's the hard pill to swallow here is this entire time Nebraska's been further away than we thought they were. And I think they're closer now, but probably still not as close as we want them to be.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so Ravi, you have done a lot of ranting. Let's give you a break. Let's build off positives, right? Because we mentioned just slightly about the running backs looking good. And I thought outside of a hip drop tackle, which I did not appreciate from Utah on Isaiah Mosey, Mekhi Nelson, when he broke through in that first touchdown run, I woke up the dog and Dr. Fiance. It was very embarrassing in my home. But, we had to do it. And then 14-7 at one point, I was pretty impressed. And Latif looked good. That second play calling drive, all the Dana naysayers and whatnot, that was a Dana Holgerson absolute chili cook-off champion type of play calling drive right there. I also thought guard, center, guard, outside of personally a phantom holding call on Justin Evans in the second half, which again, the game was out of it. It didn't matter. Guard, center, guard was elite play. And maybe that's not a credit to Jeep Wade. Maybe that's just how good and talented that core position is. Tackles could have played better, especially on the outside, on the right side too, gave up too many pressures. But I thought we did see some things that lend you to feeling confident going into the next year, because these are guys that are coming back. We're not talking about, okay, well, yeah, sorry, we're not going to be seeing any more of Dane Key, and he had 200 yards receiving. What a great, send off and all that stuff. Would have loved to send him out the right way. Would have loved to send Heinrich Harburg out the right way. All that great stuff, right? But a lot of guys that you saw either have success or continue to get better as the season progressed played out today. And a name that, we can bring up here because he led the defense in tackling. Caleb Benning had 13 total tackles today. He's the only defender in double-digit tackles. He had 4 solo tackles. He had the unfortunate circumstance with Dampier, who decided to slide because he saw the West Side tape, didn't want to get his head taken off. But nonetheless,
he knew. Dampier knew.
Listen, he knew. He knew what was coming, all right? And even Caleb tried to, lay off it, but it is what it is. Vincent Shavers, coming back unless something happens, 9 tackles. Donovan Jones, he got tied up. He missed a couple on a 4th and 1, but still 8 tackles. And then you even keep going down the list. I mean, Justin Rhett, very first start, had played sparingly. He was the 3rd safety. He had 6 tackles in this game. I think Donovan had a pass breakup there too. And no, they were not perfect. But wouldn't you rather have the guys making plays and getting better be your freshman, redshirt freshman, and sophomore? Because if we're sending out and we feel this way about the juniors and seniors that we aren't seeing play, at least you can build your confidence up and say, listen, they're getting so many reps and they can only get better, because that's what they're setting them up for success for in the future. I know it's not the end result that we wanted. That's kind of what we've been talking about. But nonetheless, there are so many things that you can take positively from how Nebraska performed in spots in this game that you can start to feel a little bit better about where they move into the offseason, obviously barring that all these pieces stay in place and stay at Nebraska.
And then if you add in, whoever decides to transfer in, hopefully a decent amount from San Diego State, who are close with, obviously, the defensive coordinator, know his defense, you'll be able to add those pieces to an already, like you just said, a pretty exciting, potentially, defensive team coming, or defensive team, just defense coming back. There's a lot of pieces there that if they can make some sort of take some sort of steps up in their game with a new defensive coordinator, then that'll be some really fun things to watch going forward. But yeah, I mean, there was a ton of young guys out there making plays, and this is what we talked about in the pregame. I mean, look, on the offensive side of the ball, you got a really tall receiver in Quinn Clark, a redshirt freshman, who I know he didn't have a ton of catches, but the 2-point conversion in the end zone where he didn't really high point it, but still strong hands to get down there, rip the ball away and score. He's getting out in space, running around, using those long legs. There's some youth, some young pieces out there who, barring hitting the transfer portal, it could be very exciting next season. I'm not saying, obviously, I'm not going to sit here and be like, they're going to be great next year, right. But there's some exciting pieces.
But there's also, and I know this will caveat a little bit of what I just said, but there's also a part of this too, that you are bringing in a new defensive coordinator and all the gripes and everything. And if people want to be upset that some of the guys maybe weren't perfect in position and they made some mistakes, I'll acknowledge that. You have a new defensive coordinator coming in. He could come in and just say, these guys ain't good enough. And they may move on. And if that's the case, that's why you bring in a new coach, because maybe it's development, maybe it's the talent that's there. Whatever the case is, if they don't fit in with what's moving forward, doesn't matter how they play today, it could completely reset and be changed. That's, again, everyone in this chat that if anyone even wants to say, like, look at the 2026 schedule, we can't, because this team is going to look dramatically different in 3 days and in 30 days before we can even make an evaluation as to what Nebraska and its opponents look like heading into next year.
Yeah, and I think the one thing that is encouraging, one of the biggest thing that's encouraging is, like, this is what Rob Orich does, is he comes in and your defense gets dramatically better the next year. Like, that's why he was hired. Mm-hmm. Like, he was hired because he has a history of quick turnarounds. Like, whether that happens at Nebraska or not, I don't know, but that's what he was brought in for. That's what his history dictates. So, like, that's a major factor, I think, going into next year. And I think there will be, there's obviously guys from San Diego State and other places which San Diego State was one of the best defenses in the country this year, by the way, and even adjusted for opponents and strength of schedule. But you're going to have pieces that I think likely will follow him from San Diego State. You'll have pieces from other places in the country that'll come to Nebraska as well. And, like, I think the defense will look dramatically different from last year. And hopefully the pieces that I like, and not even that I like if they're not good enough and I like them, then, like, okay, fine, go. Like, that is what it is. Mm-hmm. Right. Like, I'll get over it. There's guys that I like that I'm just like, yeah, that's probably not going to happen, and that's totally fine. I would rather see Nebraska win. And, like, if Rob Orich just comes up and he calls me up, because, I'm sure he has my phone number, and says, Ravi, like, Keota Davis just doesn't fit my system. It's not it. Like, I'll be bummed. I think he's good, but, like, that's the call. You've got a history of this and being good at this. Like, best of luck to Keota Davis at his next spot. Like, that is what it is, right? And so it's incredibly frustrating right now. And also, most of the people that were responsible for most of the things that we're frustrated about have already been fired.
Yes.
Like, that's just, I think I just keep.
You're just going to keep reiterating that. Just keep mentioning it.
The way people are talking, it seems like they have forgotten that. It seems necessary to remind them that most of the things you're mad about, because people keep bringing up the last 3 games. It's not just today. Today's the most understandable. Utah's freaking good. Like, like, today is the most understandable of those 3 losses.
Utah is the best team that they played all season.
Not that makes it okay still, but it is the most understandable of the 3. The ones that you're really mad about, Penn State and Iowa, those guys have been fired already. Mm-hmm. Unless you're talking about Rhule. And like I said, he's not going anywhere. So either find out a way to find some level of optimism, or don't watch for the next year or however many years until they either start winning or Rhule gets fired, because I'm tired of listening to people complain and not have anything. Like, there's no, like, is that just all you're going to do for however many years? Is just complain?
Yeah.
Like, that's like, if me personally, I would not enjoy that pastime if this was the thing I like to do in my free time, watching football and watching Nebraska. And that's like, well, I think Rhule sucks and there's no hope.
Suck.
And I think all the players suck. So I'm just going to complain about it for however many years until they get all new players and a new coach. And, like, listen, if that's how you like to spend your time, that's fine. I'm probably not going to live in that space. Like, sorry, I'm not. Like, there was very clear writing on the wall for me when it was over for Scott Frost, right? Like, I believed pretty early that it wasn't happening, that it wasn't getting turned around, and I was very vocal about that. But as I mentioned earlier, this is the 2 best records Nebraska's had in consecutive years in a decade. That's where this program's at. That's where this program has been. We have to get ourselves out of this mind. Like, Bo was 15 years ago, guys. Like, the best Bo teams were 15 years ago.
He also took over for Callahan, who recruited
was
his
the
ass
best
off.
Recruiter
recruited his ass off. That man brought in talent. He didn't coach him up very well, but he brought in talent.
So, like, I don't know, like, I don't know what people want from this offseason. Like, if you're saying, hey, bring in a huge portal haul, like, let's do it. Let's get good players. I'm all, like, spend the money, write the checks, I'm in, right? If you're like, heads need to roll, guess what? They already did, man. They have rolled. They're gone, right? So all we have now to see is, okay, were the hires good? Are the transfer portal players going to be good? Who's going to come in and be quarterback? And that's it. There's nothing left. Those are the only variables, because Rhule is not a variable at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Full stop. Whether you like that or not, I personally still like it. I think it's good that he is not a variable. But even if you disagree with me, it doesn't change the fact that I'm right about him not being a variable. Like, that's not on the table. Sorry.
Yeah.
It just isn't. So either figure out a way to be optimistic or figure out a way to find something to be optimistic about.
Or don't be a fan. Literally, why are you being so miserable?
Hold on. Can I just make
an
the
ulcer?
chat?
Like, I don't know. Like, what are the options?
Ulcer? Yeah, get kidney stones. Do
fast?
something bad with your life.
Yeah. Let me make
Rob
the
a
chat happy real
store.
fast.
Do something.
Bye,
crazy.
Josh.
Get to
Have
prison.
fun, bud. Have a good time, Josh.
Let me do this. Okay.
I hope you
Rhule
find
was,
something that brings you joy. I swear to God.
Rhule was
I
terrible
really
with
do.
his timeouts again today. All right. I'm going to make the chat happy real quick.
Stop.
Rhule was terrible with his timeouts again today. I think we can all agree on that. The play calling after the first two drives was sketchy. I mean, it wasn't the greatest. A lot of 3-and-outs going on against a really, really good Utah defense, but whatever. We're not going to talk about that. Hold on. The offensive line was good, was not good enough. Was not good enough. The defensive line gave up too many holes. The secondary was awful, and there was a lot of soft covers, and they're giving up short passes and then missed tackles that led to long runs for the wide receivers. What else am I missing? You fired your defense coordinator. Your defense didn't get any better because you fired the guy who was leading them. But how terrible.
The guy hasn't started yet.
Shut up. It doesn't matter. Rhule was terrible with his timeouts. I just awful. Just got awful with
the
game.
game starts in a couple hours, so you can't take those.
Can you be terrible with timeouts in a game that is not close? Like, is that even a thing? Like, you can't be terrible with timeouts when you're down 30 in the second half. You can't.
Yeah, but you got to save those.
There is no terrible
timeouts.
use of timeouts at that point.
Now, I do want
to save those.
There's an alternate reality, and I don't care. All these people that are saying, like, if we're delusional, chat's delusional, I don't care. I'll be as dumb as I want to be right now because I believe this. Latif hits that wheel route, Mosey on the right side after that play action, and it's not 3rd and 10 or whatever. I think that he missed him. I think this is a whole different game. Truthfully, because Nebraska, he would have been gone. There was nobody there for a while. He just overshot him by a little bit, but it is what it is. So yeah, you move on.
There's a difference between being upset and constantly, like, I swear to God, and like, you guys don't live in my mentions, so it's fine. Like, you don't know this, but there are people, like, this is what I'm talking about. Carl, I'm not talking about you, that you're invested in the program and you want better for the program. I understand that. Like, and I understand being upset. Like, again, I know it doesn't seem that way because, like, I'm more upset than anybody. Like, I'm going to be talking about this 3-game stretch for the next 6 months. That's my job, right? So, like, I'm more upset about how the last 3 games have gone than anyone. But there's a difference between being upset and wanting better. Like, there's a difference between complaining and wanting solutions. I want solutions. Complaining is asking for something that is just not going to happen. That is just not even on the table. Complaining is waiting until seeing me tweet out during the second drive when Dana was in his bag, by the way.
Yes.
And waiting until the third quarter when they haven't gotten 8 yards in an entire quarter and being like, you sure about that? It's like, yeah, for that drive, he was in his bag. I was very specific. I was talking about one drive, right? That's the difference that we're talking about here. Because there are some people, and I think some of them live in the chat today, at least, not so much on the morning show. We have a good group there, but there are some people who just wait for the negative thing to happen because I swear to God, I think they enjoy complaining more than they like winning. Like that's how it seems. And if that's not the case, then I don't know what to, like, the way you represent yourselves does not give that indication. Like, I want solutions. Okay. One of the solutions that isn't on the table is getting rid of Rhule. So what else is there? Let's start there. Right? Let's start with what's actually on the table. Mm-hmm. Let's transfer portal, new coaches. Like, that's where we're at. We've already taken half that equation with the new assistants. But what good does it do? Like, what good does it do to keep talking about a thing that is not feasible? Like, just not happening. Like you just want to have the receipt so you can say it in 4 years if he does get fired? Like, what are we doing? Nebraska's gone on the start over every few years treadmill for a while now. How well has that worked out? We happy with the results there? No. So what are we doing? Like, they're trying something else. They're trying something else. You may not like it, but you didn't like it before either. Neither did I. No one did. It sucked. It sucks slightly less now, so let's see what happens. Crazy? I don't think so. Like, they've got one fewer win in 2 years, the last 2 years under Rhule, than they had all of Scott Frost's 4 full years. Scott Frost won 15 games in his 4 full years at Nebraska. And then he won the extra one, in that little 3-season blip that he got, or 3-game blip that he got. They've won that many games in 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
In half the time. So, like, I get that I get it's not enough progress. I get it's not the progress that we want. It is a better situation than it was just 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
That's the truth. I don't know what else to tell you. And Rhule's not going anywhere. So let's talk about other possible solutions.
But
the other solutions are that, luckily, now that the season is over, a national offseason champion can arrive once again, so we can look forward to that. Bang. And also in 49 hours, Nebraska basketball has its biggest game in program history that people can
Michigan
look forward
to. Carrie, that's a real question, Carrie. I appreciate that. Why do we have so many injuries? Seemed like players were maybe on hands on hips a little bit more than they should have been. Like, that's a fair question to ask, and something that could theoretically, I don't think it'll be changed. I think they really like Corey Campbell. I don't know if that's right or wrong. It's strength and conditioning is a funny topic because, like, none of us know, like, if we're honest, because we don't know what's happening in the room. Like, I did strength and conditioning for basketball teams, and I still can't really tell you. I can kind of look at indicators, but I can't tell you what they're doing. I can't tell if the injuries are directly related to their strength and conditioning practices. I really can't. But that's a fair question to ask. Hey, is there an issue with why there's so many injuries, or why it looks like guys are sucking air during long drives and things like that? Totally fair question, and a thing that can be worked on. Thank you for asking. I apologize that I don't have an answer. Michael, yes, the portal is a thing that we can work on. Let's get some good players in the portal. That seems like a terrific idea. I'm all in. Let's get better players. Like, I'm here for that.
Is there a coaches portal
they just got 3 new guys. They just got them.
Is that possible?
They did. They already did the coaches portal. They shopped already.
Oh, okay.
They did their shopping. Like, that's what it is. I'm happy to hear criticism, but, like, at a certain point, if you're like, hey, I don't think Rhule's doing good enough, that's fine. But what are the solutions-based conversations we can have?
Yeah, you can stay on the sidelines, cross arms, and just be like, I don't like the result. Okay, cool.
Cool. Neat. Nobody likes the results, man. Like, that's what it is. Like, yeah, I thought they were going to go 10-2 this year. You think I like the results? You think I feel good about how this went? No. I also know they lost by 3 to Michigan. I know they lost by 3 to USC with a backup true freshman quarterback in that game. That's 20-17, wasn't it? 21-17. My apologies. 21-17.
They would have won that game if the other guy didn't get hurt.
I agree. But, like, you sit here and you go, okay, like, that changes dramatically how we feel about that season. So I don't know, and ifs and buts and candies and nuts and whatever. Like, I get it. We'd all have a Merry Christmas, but I'd rather talk about things that can actually be changed.
Yeah. Hey,
I do think for JJ, for what it's worth, I do think they'll add some depth in the running back room. I don't know that they'll go look for a true starter, and I don't know that they need to. I know it's a 1-game sample size. I think Nelson and Mosey, like, if those are your 2 main guys going into the offseason, I'm cool.
So this is something that I've kind of had thoughts on. I see it a lot in the comment section. Lil Romeo, how do results suddenly change with Dana still running stats offense, installing a new defense, bringing in new? I think the offense is going to change in the offseason, and I understand that, you don't have Dylan at quarterback anymore. Maybe the offense changes and you have a more mobile quarterback. You're going to run more of your offense. But just because the quarterback changes, you still have the offensive line, the running backs, the wide receivers, all of them needing to learn an entirely new offense in the middle of the season or, towards the end of the season, what have you. So I think that it didn't happen after USC. It didn't happen, as this season went on. But I do believe that in this offseason, you're going to see, depending on the quarterback situation, depending on TJ Lateef, whoever they bring in from the portal, that you'll see you'll see Dana implement more of his offense, or maybe just allow his offense to flower and bloom with this offensive team, with this team on offense, just because you're not going to change an entire thing mid-season. I just don't think that would have been very smart, especially with like you've mentioned before, true freshman quarterback who has been learning this offensive scheme since he got onto campus. And then he's the starter. And you're like, by the way, everything you learned before, scrap it. We're learning something different. I think this offseason is going to go a long way in Nebraska's offense, actually looking like a Dana Holgorsen offense.
Also, for what it's worth, I don't think we saw most of the plays that Dana Holgorsen actually called this year. I don't have any proof of that. I don't have any evidence outside of just anecdotal things. I think Dylan changed way more plays at the line of scrimmage than we'll ever know. I don't think we saw most of the especially and sequential play calling. Yeah, and I do think, Todd, you're right. I do think the offense was specifically installed for Dylan, and I don't think he was actually running a lot of the plays that were called as they were called. I think he was checking to things at the line of scrimmage way more than we realized, which even if in a vacuum that might have been an okay check, it really disrupts the sequential play calling that Dana Holgorsen is kind of known for, right? So, when we saw in the first couple drives, Dana really get into a rhythm, that's what, I'm not as specific about, and DB put me on the spot last week, and totally fair to do so, about what a Dana Holgorsen offense is supposed to look like. But to me, the word is rhythm, right? You need to find the rhythm, and that is all about sequential play calling. When you have a quarterback frequently changing the call at the line of scrimmage, then that completely nukes any sort of potential you have for rhythm. And so I think you're right. I don't think we saw Dana Holgorsen's offense this year. We're also not going to see what we saw last year because Dylan Raiola's gone. I think that's part of the reason that the sides chose to part ways, was because of kind of how things were going in that department. And I think it's a highly positive thing that whoever takes snaps at quarterback next year will not have the leeway that Dylan Raiola had the last 2 years.
Yeah, it's like a whiplash. Big not quite my tempo. Not quite.
Yeah. Are you rushing or dragging? Rushing or dragging?
I don't know.
Are you just guessing?
Yes.
No,
I am.
I'm rushing.
Yeah.
All right, Ravi. What else is on? Do you have anything else you want to get off your chest?
No, I think I'm okay on the game. I think I'm all right. It sucked. That was one of the longest second halves I've ever watched. It was all it was just.
The amount of times Nebraska was inside of its own 15 was also embarrassing. But
yeah, not great. It was terrible to watch.
I do want to say that the use of tight ends by Utah, I think Nebraska just take that and just throw that in the playbook, please and thank you.
Yeah,
because Luke Lindenmeyer, what did he have? One catch today?
Yes,
and he broke 2 tackles. I need him to have the ball in his hands more, please and thank you.
Phenomenal. It was phenomenal play calling, and that's what Utah does. That's what they're really, really good at this. I think his name is Jason Beck, the offensive coordinator.
Yeah, from New Mexico.
Who was Devin Dampier's operator at New Mexico to somebody's. I think Austin was your point about consistency in terms of players being under the same assistants for multiple years. I think that has a lot to do with why they had such a good kind of shorthand as to how they played that game. But he's really good at what he does. That guy's going to get a head coaching job pretty soon because of what he does.
Yeah, and listen, Jason Beck runs a great 2016 Carolina Panther offense, because I've seen those quarterback powers many times, and every time I was Dampier kind of a little bit, right? he's a little.
Austin was sitting there wait,
Cam. He's kind of a little Cam.
Wait a minute,
like an actual little Cam.
Yes.
Yeah, because
miniature Cam. Yes.
Because Cam was a freak. But
Yeah,
Dan Pierre looked pretty big.
And listen, I mean, that's the other part of it too. If you want to get into the nitty-gritty of this game as well, when Nebraska's defense was making mistakes and not getting off the field and all that other stuff too, they didn't put themselves in positions to make plays or game-changing plays like creating turnovers or doing anything like that. And Utah didn't really give them any opportunities to do that in any sense. So, I mean, yeah.
I agree there that they didn't do that. I don't think the offense – I mean, Javen Wright had an opportunity to intercept that ball at the goal line. That would have been – like that's the type of play Nebraska has to make. And if they have to go into the portal to find guys that will make those plays, I'm totally okay with that. Like I totally understand that. I think that Nebraska defense – that's the thing I think that frustrated me the most about Nebraska's defense this year was I was aware that there was going – like I didn't think they would be as solid as they had been under Tony White the last couple of years. But the way they were described and with the pieces they had, I thought they'd be much more disruptive. And they weren't. They were not disruptive in any way whatsoever. Like they were about as like disruptive as white noise. Like they were just kind of there. And so that's probably my single biggest frustration with this defense is at a certain point, there were no turnovers. There was no pressure. There was no sacks. Like there was just nothing. I can live with like, hey, every once in a while you miss a run fit or somebody gets behind you or whatever, if there is the other stuff. That's what I thought this defense would be this year, was a little bit more disruptive plays, not quite as solid as it had been in the past. And it was neither of those things, right? That's why your defensive coordinator gets fired. But like, I think it's less about Utah not giving them opportunities and Nebraska not having the guys, at least in the positions to create those opportunities. Like, I think it's less about, I think it's more about like creating that for yourself. And a lot of that starts up front with, you know, somebody said, build up the lines and then add a few pieces around them. Yeah. Like let's go get every single one of those South Carolina and Georgia Tech offensive linemen in the portal. Let's go get them.
Build from the middle out.
Fight it out amongst the guys that are here and the guys you bring in and just see what happens. Right. Like I'm fine with that. Like there's nobody on this team right now, as much as I like certain guys, there's not a person on this team right now that I'd say, oh, you can't bring in competition at his spot. No.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Bring in everybody.
Yeah. Hold on.
Bring in everybody.
Yeah.
And just let them fight.
There's quite literally not a position on the field right now for Nebraska where you have a, hey, this is your spot no matter what. Hey, no matter who comes in, because no one is an All-American. No one is All Big Ten coming back. No one is any of that level of stature. You have guys on the roster. Again, I said this earlier. You have guys on the roster who I would be disappointed to see not return. And like, I'll name it, like Ja'Cory Barney's been rumored quite a bit, right? Like I would be disappointed to see Ja'Cory Barney leave. But even if Ja'Cory Barney left, there would be other guys that Nebraska
come on down, baby. Let's do it.
Yes.
Like there is no one on this team that has been so good. And I even felt this way about Dylan. And I was obviously very pro Dylan during the season. I thought he was playing better than he was getting credit for. And I also thought it was weird that guys that were playing worse than him were getting more credit. But I also thought that he brought issues. Like there's issues that he brought to the table as well. And I'm going to be honest with you, Randy, you don't need a new tight ends coach because that's the reason you're going to get Ahmad Hudson. Like Satterfield's the reason you're going to get Ahmad Hudson. So
don't touch that spot. If you
want to get rid of Satterfield, say goodbye to your 5-star tight end. Like I'm just saying, like that's say goodbye to Mac Markway probably as well. Like I get that he was injured, but
I also think the tight ends are good, and when they get the ball, they produce. When they're blocking, they're really good. They don't get the ball, and that's not on the tight ends coach. The tight ends coach can't go to the offensive coordinator and be like, "Hey, throw my guy the ball." Like he coaches him up. He has them doing everything the right way, which they have been. They just don't get the ball. It's just part of the offense.
Like whatever you feel about
I think they should get it more, but that's not on him.
I agree, but you're right. Every time they do get the ball, it seems like they execute. Like however you feel about Satterfield as an offensive coordinator. Like, I don't think there's a lot of dispute. He's very good as a tight ends coach. And recruits seem to really, really respond to him. And seems like a pretty good chance you're getting the best tight end in the country in 2027, and in no small part because of Marcus Satterfield. So if you want to fire him, Randy, the tight ends coach doesn't call the plays, buddy.
He also doesn't throw the ball.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't call the plays. Like
because Dana's calling plays where the tight ends are running routes that that Trey or Dylan, I mean, early in the season, they were finding the tight ends on the dump offs, but later in the season, they just weren't. They weren't looking for the tight ends. They were looking deep. They were looking at Emmett Johnson. I don't know why they're not getting the ball. They're just not getting thrown the ball.
I'm not mad at the kill shorts that Isaiah Hunter only had like one reception in the last couple of games. Like that's like, I think Isaiah Hunter is good. I think Dekel Shorts has done a good job. Like, I don't think that's it. Has nothing to like, those two things are not related. That's
like the
my
position
point.
coaches have done a good job at coaching their guys up. It's just not happening.
Yeah.
At least for wide receivers, tight ends. I don't know.
So, but yeah, I think I don't think there's a spot on this roster that I would look at and say, can't bring in competition there. Like Nebraska's at the point where you want every good player you can get your hands on. And there's guys I don't think would lose their job. Like, I don't think Justin, like I bet Justin Evans is probably starting next year. I bet Elijah Pritchett's probably starting next year. But there's not like, if you're like, hey, yeah, we can bring in 6 offensive linemen, cool, do it. Like, these guys all started in the SEC or at winning ACC programs last year. Absolutely. Bring them all in. Bring every single one of them in. Like, Nebraska's not at a point where you can be choosy about the talent. Go get all the talent you can find and then go from there. And when I say talent, I include kind of their mentality. Because like that, I think is a big thing. And I agree. Like, you have to have a certain type of mentality to play the way that Rhule wants you to play, that the way Nebraskans, frankly, want this team to play. Like, you have to have a certain mentality. And I think you have to have a certain mentality to deal with the expectations of being a Nebraska football player. And so when I say talent, mentality and makeup is definitely a part of that. But bring in all the talent you can find and sort it. Let the position group battles sort themselves out, and you go from there. Because that's the only way. That's the only way up. I think that's the only way up. I agree, Logan. Give Rhule the time Hoiberg was afforded. That seems to be working out well for Nebraska basketball.
Good place to end.
I think it's a great place to end. And
yeah,
let's go pack the vault. It's the second, right? They play the second, Michigan
Friday.
State?
Yes.
Big one.
Friday. Pack the vault. Make it loud. Make it a hellish place for Tom Izzo and company to play.
Watch it on Peacock.
Yeah.
Watch it on Peacock. If you don't have Peacock, Hurrdat Sports Bar has Peacock.
Bang.
Oh. You can also go to Hurrdat Sports Bar. What's today? Wednesday? Tomorrow. Because the 20th ranked Nebraska women are traveling to number 14 Iowa to play the Hawkeyes.
Whoa.
On BTN. Another top 25
Well,
battle.
unfortunately, your haircut has doomed them once again. So
can you not? It's not my fault. That's a bad place to end.
I think it might be a little bit your fault.
There's that smile we've been looking for, Ravi.
How's it my fault?
I don't know. It makes me feel.
What did I do?
You got your
in 2026, no haircuts, no losses. Rico.
Yeah,
it's not happening. I'm cutting. Can I? Okay, no haircut. Can I at least trim this? Is this
part of it?
I think you can trim the beard. I think we've narrowed it down to the.
To just up here
to the top of the head.
Okay, I almost said a bad word, Austin.
Don't work on the radio.
Your kids might be watching.
That is fair. They could be watching,
waiting for us to get done.
All right, let's wrap this up. So this is Hail Varsity Postgame. Ravi, Rico, myself, Austin. We appreciate all of you guys for tuning in now for 13 games of Hail Varsity Postgame, whether it was me and Ravi, Rico, Ravi, whatever combination you deserve. This actually started in a garage for me in Kansas City. And it's ending in the construction zone of the Hurrdat Sports office. So no better place.
There you go.
There's no better place in the world for me. So
no other place I'd rather be. No, thank you guys for joining me all year on these. I appreciate it. I know it's time out of your days and nights that you don't have to give, so I appreciate that. And I know I yell at you guys. It's out of love. Not you guys, the listeners. I know I yell sometimes. It's out of love. I appreciate I appreciate most of you. I'll be honest. There's a couple I don't appreciate. I won't name names though. But
what a way to end the year. What a way.
90. Listen,
name your
I'm not a liar. Like, I'm not going to pretend like there's not some people that I'm like, yeah, if they didn't chime in anymore, I'd be okay. But I like 98% of the chat is I'm incredibly grateful for. and I think really understands what we're trying to do here and appreciates what we're trying to do here. I did just want to say one thing, and we can end here, is as you know, everybody does resolutions for New Year's and things like that. And I know for a lot of people, 2025 was kind of a tough year, so they get a little reflective on New Year's Eve and things like that. And I was watching this video that was talking about people who are going through hard times, and talking about a lot of times they'll reach out to someone pretty innocuously, right? And it'll just be like, "Hey, what's up? What's going on? You have a minute to chat or whatever." And a lot of times it doesn't come off as anything particularly pressing or important, but a lot of times that's people reaching out because they're like in distress and really struggling. And this study found out that it only takes 8 minutes from a friend to make those people feel like they're not alone in their situation anymore. And as heated as we get on these shows sometimes, I know for a fact, when I've been on the other side of it, that sports talk has been my 8 minutes some days. You know, whether it's going through a divorce, whether it's going through mental health challenges, family stuff, whatever. There's been days where I go into work and throw in the headphones and like Chicken Nick or Damon before I worked with him, or, you know, Scott Van Pelt, Dan Patrick, a lot of these guys, like those were my 8 minutes, even though I didn't even know those guys. And so I am incredibly grateful, because a lot of you have reached out to me over the course of the last couple of years that we've been doing this, that every once in a while we're your 8 minutes. That is something that I take very, very seriously. That's part of the reason I don't like to miss days. Part of it's because I'm paranoid, but I also understand that for some people, like that's the 8 minutes that's going to make them feel better today and make them be able to get on to their next thing. So incredibly grateful that you put that kind of faith and trust in us. And maybe for some of you, it's just a couple of idiots talking about sports and other food storage techniques and things like that. And that's totally cool too. And I love that. But I do know for some of you that like we're the 8 minutes that help your day not be a disaster, and that help you in that kind of challenging place mentally and emotionally. So I'll keep being there. I'll keep being your 8 minutes, and you just keep tuning in, and we'll try and make your days a little bit better. That's kind of what I've been reflecting on as 2025 comes to an end. So appreciate you guys, Rico and Austin. Appreciate you guys, listeners, as well. We love you all dearly. Tell your people you love them. Don't make them weird, or absolutely make it weird. Like it doesn't matter. They'll appreciate it even if they don't know how to take it in the moment. So that's all I got. That's 2025 for Hail Varsity Postgame and for Hurrdat Sports Live. We will see you in 2026.
It's the season of savings at Edwards Buick Chevrolet. Lease the 2025 Buick Envista Preferred starting at $249 a month. Luxury, wrapped and ready for the holidays. More reasons to celebrate this season. Or lease the 2026 Chevrolet Trax LS starting at $259 a month. Compact style, ready to roll into the new year. Your season of savings starts at Edwards Buick Chevrolet.
Good morning. Welcome in Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centrist Federal Credit Union. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. What's up, DB?
for Borsheim's is our big game chain player of the game.
Sasha Durkin here with Husker volleyball coach Danny Busboom Kelly.
Ahead of the fall season, Harper Murray joining me now.
And Mike Sauter here with Nebraska men's basketball, the rink master.
Joined now by John Cook at the First Serve Showcase.
All right, well, Dylan, thanks for sitting down with us. I know we're in the thick of fall camp.
Omaha native Harrison Phillips is entering year 8 in the NFL.
You're watching Hurrdat Sports.
Last call to make this last forever. One shot to never start another. Right here, I don't think we should ever let go, let go, let go. One night we look back on each other. That call made us start to wonder. I don't know how we could have ever let go, let go, let go. Last call to make this last forever. One shot.
A successful financial future is built one coin at a time. Whether you're just starting out or a seasoned saver, we've got the financial resources and team of experts who will be with you every step of the way. Centris Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
First of all, credit to Utah. I thought number 4, the quarterback, was spectacular. We've seen him all year. He's done that versus everybody. I thought we did a good job for the first 3 quarters, really stopping the run. But unfortunately, a lot of the routes in the passing game, pass defense, they defended us pretty well. I thought Phil Snow stepped in and tried to do a really great job for us. He could have stuck with some of the stuff we did all year long. Really got us a kind of a kickstart into being a 4-down quarters team for next year. And so we had some kind of miscommunications at times, or just not quite playing fast enough in the passing game. But I think that we thought that it was the best thing for us to do moving forward was to start really kind of on what Coach Orich wants to do for us as we move forward. Offensively, obviously, we came out, set the tone early. The backs, I thought, did a really nice job, and then just really quite couldn't sustain it. So special teams-wise, I thought they won there. So credit to them. They were 4-8 team last year that made the necessary changes to get to, a 11, 12-win team, whatever, to 11-win team, I guess. And those are the same things, the changes that we've tried to make so we can get there next year. But they got the best of us today. So with that, I'll answer your questions.
Your offense had 5 straight 3-and-outs. Did they make an adjustment, and did you guys fail to adjust, or did you get away from what was working?
No, we didn't get away from it. They started zone pressuring us, and you have to just kind of win those plays, and we just didn't quite win enough. And we had some opportunities, but we had a screen that should be out for a touchdown. We just don't quite make a block. We have some plays that are just not quite there. We're just not quite there. We left the pocket sometimes a little too early. So I just think it was just, we kind of were in rhythm early. They made some adjustments, and we just, our guys just didn't quite make enough kind of plays. And then the second half, obviously, we moved the ball a couple times, brought it down the field, and just didn't get in the end zone, obviously.
How do you assess TJ's play? You touched on it there, but overall.
Yeah, I think in general, we ran the ball early and had good rhythm. I think there were a couple of times where the pocket, you maybe left the pocket just a little too early. Some other times where, you went for a fourth down and we're open and they, bat the ball down. So, I thought he protected the ball until that last pick. So I wouldn't say, it was just either way from what I could tell. I'll have to go back and watch the tape to really have a good feel for where he was at and, see the reads. But, they were playing man coverage against us and, pressuring and we just didn't hurt them enough. And so whether that was the plays or the routes, I have to go back and see that.
You referred to the defense's lack. And you weren't happy with the effort of the last 2 regular season games, physicality. How was that today in your mind? I thought we were really physical. I thought we stopped the run for the most part. Like in the first half, I think at one point they had like 60 yards and like 100 rushing, about 150 yards passing. They got out on one naked, and the quarterback just took off. But these guys are running for 300-400 yards a game against people, and I thought. We were holding up on the inside. Really, was the passing game. They threw for 300 yards against us. And from the very first play, when it was cover 2, they get behind us in cover 2. That can never happen. It shouldn't happen. Third and 18, scrambling around, and he makes a play. So, but I didn't think it was. I never felt like it was a lack of physicality. I never felt like it was anything. In fact, coming into the game, we were really thinking a lot about the run game, obviously, with the way we had played the run during the year, and we were spilling everything, and there wasn't a lot of big explosive runs. So I wasn't concerned with the effort. It was more just the execution. And some guys got banged up in the game. A lot of guys played in the game. And every dark time there's some silver linings. There's a lot of young players made some plays. Quinn Clark catches a fade down the left sideline. A bunch of young guys on defense played today. It's because we're learning some lessons by fire. But I didn't question the effort at all.
Given the number of players you played today and the schematic changes you're sort of moving toward what Forge wants to do, did you kind of incur the risk that you knew that there might be some moments that were a little bit off, given that you were doing something new and you were doing it with young guys against a really good team? Yeah, we came into the game knowing that, Deshaun wasn't going to play and Isaiah wasn't going to play. We were down some guys, but, that's the point of bowl games, right, is it thrusts you into the next year. Let me just say this. We came to win the game. There's nothing that we didn't want to do to win the game. However, we just felt like the best chance we had was to kind of move into that 4 down and play quarters and play cover 3 and bring a couple pressures. And, if anything, we were like, hey, are we going to have enough? We had to work hard on having enough hats for the run game. And it wasn't like it was play action, like we were sold out to the run. They just dropped back and threw it against us too much. But they had a dynamic quarterback, one of the best players we've seen all year, and he was able to run around and buy time. So, and then you get into the game, right? So we started Justin Rhett, we started Marquise. Justin goes down, so you got to see Jameer Khan in there, you got to see Caleb Benning in there. So, guys have to decide who's going to go in the portal, who's not. But for the most part, a lot of young players that should be back with us got to play a lot. So that is sort of the silver lining of kind of the way that we play. Even though the defensive ends I was working with, I have Cam, I have Will, I have Keona, and I have Cade. Those are freshmen and sophomores. So, there was a lot of work done this week to try to take away the quarterback run. I thought they worked hard at it.
What do you make of Makai and Nelson's day, and how do you see that running back picture?
Yeah, if you go back and look at it, Makai had the explosive runs. Mosey continued to make plays. Quentin Eyes was the short yardage back and the third down blitz back. And, coming into this game, that was the least of my worries. I think those are 3 really good players. So we feel really good about them being the backs moving forward next year. And sort of today was a more traditional approach to the running back room as opposed to what happened this year where everyone kind of mixed in. So, like I said, there's, we have the portal coming up, the portal giveth and the portal taketh away. We'll see kind of how it goes. But we do feel really good about the running back room as it is right now.
Matt, with the way these last 3 games ended on the season, how big is this offseason to get this roster right, get things corrected for 2026? Yeah, there's a ton of work that has to be done. And I think that work for us is and we began it long ago, right? I think in terms of like looking at the offseason, looking at the Big Ten schedule, looking at the travel, we coming down the stretch of the year, we're pretty beat up. So how can we do things better? How can we do things differently? From sports science to medicine to strength training.
we've been studying everything. And so, obviously the last 3 games make it hard to say a lot of things, but like, as I said to the guys, Henry Luttossi said in the press conference yesterday, get to back-to-back bowl games. That is an accomplishment. I don't want to forget that for them. But to get over the hump, we have a lot to do. And so, we're going to attack it, and we're going to be unbelievably persistent at it. And like I said, they're a great model, right? They were 4-8 last year, and that quarterback was on another roster, and he came in, and he's been a lightning rod for them. And now they're going to have to deal with the portal now too, So all of us have to deal with all that. So, but Pat Stewart, Keith Williams, Logan Holgerson, those guys, I think we're in really good position in terms of what we'll do in terms of personnel.
Does that start then just right away on Friday, or I guess it?
Yeah, they've been working on it for months. The portal opens up, and we'll see who's in it, and we'll go from there.
Do you have a sense of who you may lose? I'm not asking you to give names, but
no, I mean we've re-signed a lot of guys to contracts, and they anticipate being here. And there's some guys that they have to make decisions that's best for them. So we're not super worried about it. There's a lot of guys that would like to come to the University of Nebraska, and we're in a good position. So Pat and those guys are well positioned to do that.
I know Penn State got hot. Iowa beat Vanderbilt today. Utah is on 11-win. You're concerned about the gap between where you guys are at and where those 3 teams were. Do you view this game as similar to the Penn State rivalry?
Well, I mean, I think at the end of the day, like, we faced 3 top 15 probably teams, and we lost. So, I mean, we're not a top 15 team. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it doesn't mean we're a bottom 15 team. It just means we're not at the level of these guys right now, and so I have to take responsibility for that. We lost 6 games this year. 5 of them were to ranked team. Penn State lost 30 guys for the bowl game, and they still beat Clemson. I mean, they were the preseason top 5 team. We're climbing, trying to get there, and like I said, so we'll look at everything. We'll attack everything in the portal. We'll attack everything with our roster. We'll try to find ways to improve. So, that's I mean, to me, it's really black and white, isn't it? Like, I mean, hey, they're the 15 team in the country. They beat us. It was, we were able to hang with them early for a while. We're not able to do it the entire game yet, and that's where we have to improve.
We're talking about Rob Orridge was here today. Do you think he was able to get out of even these last couple of weeks, just being around the program, that can help him kind of pushing into 26?
Yeah, well, I think he's really been able to look at the roster and be able to give guys a vision for where they fit. The worst thing in the world would be to have a really good kid that's a really good player that's not going to fit the defense that we're in moving forward, right? And at the same time, there might be some guys, like Jameer Khan out there, he's a great fit for what we want to do in terms of playing this position. So he's been able to meet with the guys one-on-one. He's been able to be at practice. He was able to be at the practice flow today. I would just say, we've been here for 3 years. For 2 years, we were really good on defense. We struggled this year. I take full responsibility for that, okay? I hired John, who's a great coach, and just kind of forced him into something like, hey, stick with the 3-3-5 because we've been good at it. Really wasn't right his fit. We just said, that's not right. We parted ways. I feel bad for him. He's a great person. I wish him the absolute best. We brought in Rob. He's got a system. Say, Rob, put your system in. He knows the guys that he wants to go get for the system. He knows the guys that fit here for the system. We started it. And we didn't put in his system. We just did the kind of quarters the way we had done it early in the year. After Michigan, we didn't play quarters ever again. So it was a tough transition this last month, but at least gave us a head start. So I have no doubt that Rob is going to have us playing great defense. He knows what he wants. I have no doubt that in year 2 with Coach Eckler, that he's going to have us going where we want to go. I have no doubt that Jeep is going to have our offensive line being, a dominant group, and I have no doubt that Dana will get the thing where he wants it to be. So, but we have to get that work done. I'm going to answer your question. I'm not going to rush off. So,
after today, what do you think the identity of your team is, and what do you want it to be?
I think that's a great question. I think it's kind of for next year. I think we want to play great defense and play great special teams, and we want to control the line of scrimmage on offense and be explosive in the passing game. And we ran the ball really well early today, but we were never quite able to hit some of those plays. Like we ran a wheel route to Ja'Cory and we just weren't able to quite hit it, or we got pressure at times. I'll say this, guys like Turner Corcoran, man, that kid, he can barely walk. He just cares so much about being a Husker. I'm sure people are going to beat him up a little bit for a sack at the end or whatever. But man, guys, I'm just telling you, he's out there on a leg that most guys wouldn't play on. So I love that group. And but we'll have a chance now to go back with Jeep, to go back with Dana, and really kind of work through kind of where we want to get to. And but yeah,
we have a lot of work to do. So, Sam?
Is there a point where you take away the green light on the kickoff returns and you just say, let's do the 25 instead of trying to keep
Yeah, we did that in that game. We went, we kicked it through the end zone, but we finally said, enough's enough, right? So, credit to them. I mean, Corey's too good of a player. We're trying to get the ball in his hands more often. I give Coach Eckler a lot of freedom on that, but he felt like after the second one, he said, hey, the next one's going to be a touchdown. So we did it again. We got tackled at the 14. They were winning and we weren't, and so we would have fair caught the last one, but it went through the end zone. So, anybody else? All right, thank you guys.
It's the season of savings at Edwards Buick Chevrolet. Lease the 2025 Buick Envista Preferred starting at $249 a month. Luxury, wrapped and ready for the holidays. More reasons to celebrate this season. Or lease the 2026 Chevrolet Trax LS starting at $259 a month. Compact style, ready to roll into the new year. Your season of savings starts at Edwards Buick Chevrolet.
Good morning. Welcome in Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centris Federal Credit Union. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. What's up, DB?
And for Borsheim's, it is our big game chain player of the game.
Sasha Durkin here with Husker volleyball coach Danny Busboom Kelly.
Ahead of the fall season, Harper Murray joining me now.
And Mike Sauter here with Nebraska men's basketball, the rink master.
Joined now by John Cook at the First Serve Showcase.
All right, well, Dylan, thanks for sitting down with us. I know we're in the thick of fall camp.
Omaha native Harrison Phillips is in for year 8 in the NFL. You're watching Hurrdat Sports.
Last call to make this last forever. One shot to never start over. Right here, I don't think we should ever let go, let go, let go. One night we look back on each other. That call made us start to wonder. Don't know how we could have ever let go, let go, let go. Last call.
A successful financial future is built one coin at a time. Whether you're just starting out or a seasoned saver, we've got the financial resources and team of experts who will be with you every step of the way. Centris Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
Lining up fast would give them some issues because of what they do defensively, and I felt like getting that first down, not even getting the first down, but positive yards on first down helped in the first couple drives, and then had a couple setbacks in the second quarter, had a little slow second quarter, and we're just playing from behind.
There were moments where it was real close. You had a guy that was open, maybe you got a little pressure. How do you feel like you played and handled some of the many pressures that they brought?
I mean, I got to be better at the end of the day. Left a couple plays out there, but at the end of the day, I got to play better, and I got to do better.
Jim, what's just your mindset now going forward and sort of what you gained, from starting these last 4 games and how you can take it into the next year?
I mean, I learned a lot. I played against 4 really good football teams, so I learned a lot. I learned what I can do and what I can't do. So at the end of the day, I just learned a lot.
TJ, how fast things turn from your career? I mean, taking these last few games as the starter, and how big now is this offseason?
I mean, it's going to be a big offseason. My approach to this offseason is going to be different. There's a lot of things I got to improve on. A couple of things I got to see defensively, pre and post snap. So a lot of things I got to improve on. So that's what this offseason will be for.
How much you guys, obviously, Quinn played well, but how much did you miss Isaiah today? Not just,
I mean, Isaiah's a good football player. But it's good that we have other guys that can step in and take a big step. Quinn's a great football player, and he showed some of that today.
What was it like watching Mackay have some early success today?
I mean, I knew that was going to happen just from how Mackay's mindset. I knew that was going to happen. I don't even think it was a surprise to anybody. We knew what Mackay can do, and he displayed that today.
What, obviously your last 3 starts were tough. And you guys lost a good team. What's your message or what's your mindset of how you guys close the gap between where you're at and where the last 3 teams you played are at?
Say that one more time.
How do you close the gap between where you guys are at and where Utah, Penn State, and Iowa?
I don't think there's a gap. I really don't think there's a gap. I just think there's a couple little things that we need to fix, that I need to fix personally, so that we can improve and win those games. Thank you, guys.
It's that holiday season, and people start thinking, maybe it's time to get a little head start on our New Year's resolutions. And one way you can get a jump start on that is by going to our friends over at Next Gen Male Medical. Whatever it is that you need to get feeling your best, whether it's weight loss, whether it's testosterone therapy, peptides, maybe you just need a little vitamin B boost to get to feeling like yourself again, Next Gen has you covered. And it's not just for men. I know it says male in the title there, but they treat women as well for all the same issues, hormones, peptides, whatever men or women need to get to feeling their best. Next Gen Male Medical has you covered. Give them a call, 402-614-9700. It is not just another place that's going to say, hey, you need these hormones or whatever. They're going to talk to you, see what you want to feel your best and what you feel like your best is, and they'll help you find a plan to get there. And it's Next Gen Male Medical. Again, 402-614-9700.
Question, kind of waited, I'm sure, a long time for an opportunity like today. How did you feel like it went? What was that experience like breaking that touchdown early?
It definitely felt great, but I definitely wouldn't have been able to do it without my offensive lineman, without my receivers blocking. But, this is just something that I've been waiting for, since I got here, being able to show everybody what I could do. So definitely scoring, especially scoring the first touchdown, that felt great.
What do you think is just going to kind of the makeup of this team and how you're going to take the end of the season, going how you wanted it to, and push ahead to compete against these type of teams?
I definitely feel as though, it's just going to leave a bad taste in our mouth, you feel me? So I feel as though, we're just going to use it as motivation. We're going to go in every day thinking about these the last 3 games, and every day we're just going to go in and we're going to work. The guys that are with us are the guys that are with us, and we're just going to try and put our best foot forward and, definitely grow from this.
For you, how big was today just to kind of get things jump-started for 2026 and kind of make it around to be the starting running back?
I feel as though, it's just all about the process. You got to double down on the process. Work day in and day out, just feeling as though that you're going to be the starter. And then once your time comes and once your number is called, I feel as though you just got to go out there and ball out.
Did Emmett give you
Of course he did. Ever since Emmett opted out, he's been contacting me. I've been contacting him. We've been in contact a lot, and he's just basically been telling me, go be you. Don't go out there and listen to what other people say, try and be like Emmett. Oh, you got to be like Emmett. Just go out there and be you. You're a great player. You're here for a reason. So just go out and put that on display.
TJ said he wasn't surprised at what you were able to do today. What does the confidence that other teammates have in you do for you?
I feel as though it definitely makes me feel better, going out there and knowing that all other 10 guys and even the guys on defense and the guys that are on the sideline, just knowing that they have full confidence and full belief in you that you could go out there and make the play that we need. I feel as though that's just great.
Obviously, coach is in a different position, but with coaching Wade and working with that O-line, are you kind of excited at the back about what that can look like as he introduces some new things to those guys?
Yeah, I'm definitely excited. Coach Jeep, he brings great energy. He's on his guys, he's on our offensive lineman, and I have no doubt in my mind that this upcoming season, with the help of Coach Jeep, we're definitely going to take our run game and even our pass game to a next level.
You guys had 5 straight 3-and-outs. You were out there for some of that. Well, what do you think happened? What did they do to adjust, and how did you guys?
To be honest, I just feel as though it was our tempo. I feel as though when we were hustling to the ball, when we were breaking the huddle, getting lined up, I feel as though that's when we had our edge over them. And I felt once we sort of kind of stopped doing that, I felt that's when they were able to adjust and stop us.
Are there specific items you're focused on personally growing in the next, few months in the spring ball?
You said what?
Just a few items you got circled that you want to grow in as a player?
I definitely want to get bigger. Being a Big Ten running back, you got to be big and you got to be able to last the whole season. So I feel as though just focusing on my body weight, also focusing on my pass protection. I feel as though you can never be too good at something. So I feel as though those are the 2 things that I really want to focus on this offseason. Thank you, guys.
It's the season of savings at Edwards Buick Chevrolet. Lease the 2025 Buick Envista Preferred starting at $249 a month. Luxury, wrapped and ready for the holidays. More reasons to celebrate this season. Or lease the 2026 Chevrolet Trax LS starting at $259 a month. Compact style, ready to roll into the new year. Your season of savings starts at Edwards Buick Chevrolet.
Welcome in Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centrist Federal Credit Union. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. What's up, DB?
And for Borsheim's, it is our big game chain player of the game.
Sasha Durkin here with Husker volleyball coach Danny Busboom Kelly.
Ahead of the fall season, Harper Murray joining me now.
And Mike Sauter here with Nebraska men's basketball, the rink master.
Joined now by John Cook at the First Serve Showcase.
All right, well, Dylan, thanks for sitting down with us. I know we're in the thick of fall camp.
Omaha native Harrison Phillips is entering year 8 in the NFL.
You're watching Hurrdat Sports.
Last call to make this last forever. One shot to never start another. Right here, I don't think we should ever let go, let go, let go. One night we'll look back on each other. That call made us start to wonder. Don't know how we could have ever let go, let go, let go. Last call.
A successful financial future is built one coin at a time. Whether you're just starting out or a seasoned saver, we've got the financial resources and team of experts who will be with you every step of the way. Centrist Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
Questions for Riley? So how different was what you guys did today than maybe what you've done in previous games? Because Coach Rhule said you guys did some different things.
Yeah, we definitely
lightened up the playbook a little bit, fewer calls, made it a lot simpler up front at least. Coach Snow's message was we're going to play gap sound defense, and that's your gap. Your gap is your house. You want to protect it, and then we threw in a little bit of movements off of there, blitzes. So we simplified it up, just try to play straight up football, gap sound defense. But then I think off of not scheme wise, like with Coach Rhule and Dave and Phil and all them taking over the defensive line, I think we kind of just up front for us, especially the D tackles, we wanted to just play. We didn't want to be so focused on, reading everything, but just get off the ball, go play, play vertical and react.
How hard was their tempo to adjust to? They were moving real quick.
Yeah, they're quick. We talked about it a lot coming into it. We practiced it. I think one game they almost had 90 snaps, another game with 80 snaps, and you don't see too much of that in the Big Ten, so that's something you have to prepare for, especially as an interior guy. So we try to do some things like, turtle sub, slow, whenever they sub, get a guy in there, slow the tempo down, get breathers, rotate good enough, but you just got to be ready for it. You got to know when the tempo is going to happen, especially after a big play or something like that they're going to get right back to the line. So we had quick calls in, just one-word checks that we know what we're doing, just to handle that.
Obviously, the last 3 games are the results you want. When you see this mindset of guys coming back,
yeah, I think it's not at all what we wanted, but I think everyone in that locker room knows what needs to be done that's going to be here. And we know that for whoever is coming back, they want to be here. And that's what we want. We don't want you to be spaced out. We don't want you thinking about going somewhere else. We had the mindset, our big message this week was a team. I just wish I could have done more for those seniors. From my part, been here. They've been here since my first day. Some of those guys are my hosts on official visits, and so it hurts. But again, in that hurt, with everyone coming back, you can see what needs to be done. We know what we have to do starting January 12th, right when we get back.
How good was that quarterback of all the guys that you faced at college?
Yeah, he was good, and I think they're in a real good offense for his skill set too. Little speed options. You think they're going to hand it, and then he can pull it and find a seam and go. He's fast, and then he has a good arm as well. So it's a little bit different what we played, but I think we played very well or very good quarterbacks this year, especially with their feet, and so. Got us ready for that, but yeah, he brought I think his skill along with their offense brought a little bit of something different that we haven't seen.
Riley, with the personnel you guys have, how much better fit could the 4-2-5 be for some of the defensive linemen moving forward?
Yeah, I think it's just uphill from here once we learn it and get it down. We kind of talked about it like Coach Snow could have stuck back and done everything we did this whole year, but we kind of started incorporating a little bit of what he wanted, what we've done, plus a little bit of what we want to do moving forward, getting a jump start on that. So I think the more we learn it, the better we get at it, and just practices like spring and everything like that, walkthroughs, whether it's drills in the off season. I think we're going to build a lot of confidence. I can already see with the month of it, the amount of confidence we've had, and it allows us to play. So.
What do you hope the identity of the defense is next season?
I hope the identity is you eat what you kill. Rhule says that to us a lot, and I want to get back to, and I want to do what I can in my part as a leader to get back to that black shirt mindset of if you step on the field with us, you don't deserve to be there. You're not going to play as hard as we are, and you're sure as heck not going to last 4 quarters with us on the field.
Not saying you weren't this guy previously, but you kind of go into that mode now. I'm one of the leaders on that defense and the squad.
Yeah, especially last year after Ty, Nash, Jamari leaving, had to take over that role. Me, Cam, and Judy kind of started to be leaders on the D line, and then try to leader on the defense. Obviously, I got voted single digit by the team, which is a huge honor for me. And talking to some of the guys, there was a point in the season where I apologized, I wish I could have done better. And talking to Coach Rhule, you look back and I had a year, and you don't want to talk about it's a lot of growth, and I think it sets me up for next year. And it was a lot of learning because college football is so much different than high school. So learning how to lead a locker room of 130 guys where they can listen to you, can connect to them. A lot of learning curves, but I love every single person in that locker room. I go talk to anybody, and so it excites me just to know next year I'm going to step into that full force, and I'm going to be even better because I put that responsibility on my shoulders. And so when I think I didn't live up to what I wanted to do, I'm going to come back and double it next year.
All good.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Time in nature is always a win. This winter, explore together at Lawrence and Gardens. Discover a new plant collection in the Marjorie K. Doherty Conservatory. Meet the larger-than-life trolls in Trolls, Save the Humans by Thomas Dambo, or see the garden light up during bright nights. It's the perfect game plan for a memorable winter break. Get tickets or plan your visit at lawrenceandgardens.org.
Second bowl experience compared to your first?
I mean, obviously, like, we had the loss. I just think after it was 14-14, we just need to carry that. I know that, like, the offense they got off the field, so we need to keep getting stops. We weren't getting many stops, and we were letting them drive down the field, and we got to step that up, and we're going to change that this offseason.
Everyone talks about the challenge of Utah's in the running game. What was the challenge for you as a corner with the way that they did?
Yeah, I mean, we knew it was coming. They did the quarterback run, all the option with the running back and the Wildcat, and it was coming, and we were stopping it sometimes, but once they found a crease, and we just need to be in all of our gaps and just be more sound. I know I was missing some tackles. I looked rusty out there, but I know I got back and was doing better.
You said fix it this offseason. Now you're for sure coming back next
year?
year?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I guess you're going to have defensively a lot of change this offseason, new coordinator, a lot of guys coming in and out. I mean, what's kind of the key to get things going in the right direction going into the offseason?
Say that again?
What's going to be the key for you guys defensively to get things going in the right direction?
We just need leaders to step up. We had good leaders before, and then they're leaving now, so we need new people to step up, like me and a couple of the other guys like Marsh, J-Rat, and others.
What do you think of some of the young guys who got a little more run to them?
Like Amari stepped in, and I know JJ was cramping up, but like they all can play too, and all of us can play. We just all need to be fundamentally sound out there. Like we can't just we can't have a good drive and then let something bad happen the next. We can't let all the explosives happen early in the game and let them feed off with momentum.
If you've got any auto body repair needs, you got to go see our friends over at Dingman's Collision Center, locally and family owned and operated. They're from Omaha, just like you, and they care about the community in the same way as well. That's why they invest not only in cutting edge technology, but also in ongoing training so their team can make sure every repair is done safely and to the highest standard. With 4 convenient Omaha area locations, there's a Dingman's Collision Center close to you. And the best part is they've been voted first place best of Omaha for 20 straight years for auto body repair. Go to dingmans.com to learn more, to schedule an appointment, and get your car taken care of. It's Dingman's Collision Center.
What's the move after this one?
I mean, we had a lot of ups and downs in the season, but I think the guys played really well, especially up front. Like the D tackles and the edges, like, you know, since Coach Rhule and stuff came in the room, like we just took pride, and I feel like we was out there just like doing the best we could and just flying around. And I think everybody gave effort, their best effort.
What was the biggest challenge maybe that Utah presented offensively?
Yeah, I mean, it's just that option stuff. You know, we haven't seen it all year, so that's probably like the biggest stuff.
What would you say you've learned the most from the seniors, whether they've been here for a while or this was their first or second year?
Yeah, I mean, like a lot of them went through adversity. You know what I mean? So, like Henry said, like, you know, they left the place better than they found it. So, you know, what I got to do is just pick up where they left off. So.
Can you plan to for sure be back next year then?
Yes, sir.
I guess obviously it's going to be a reset on defense, a new coordinator, everything else. I mean, what's your role in kind of getting things going the right direction there? Because there's obviously going to be a lot of change going into next season.
Yep. I mean, like, you know, when we get back, we just got to hit the ground running and just pick up what Coach Orge is putting down, you know, like whatever style he wants to play. But what we've seen so far, like, I like it.
And who are some younger guys that you saw out there maybe doing more than they've done during the season?
I mean, especially toward the end, like Mason had the big TFL. You know, I was happy for him, of course. Who else was out there? Benning, you know what I mean? Like, just a lot of those guys. Like, it's always proud when you see those dudes making plays.
You get some time off here? What's kind of the next step for you?
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm gonna take like a day or two, and then I'm back to work. You know, I was like getting in shape more, putting on some more muscle and stuff like that. You know, a couple of days off though for sure.
What's the biggest thing you want to accomplish in the offseason?
I just think like just picking, like improving. You know what I mean? Like we got to stop the run, so just being able to, you know, whatever we got to do is like put masks on and stuff like that. You know, the coach has got a good plan for us.
How tough was that? I mean, the last 3 games, Penn State, Iowa, and this one. How motivating is that going to be?
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, it didn't end the way we wanted it to, but it's always like, that's just something that's, you know, that adversity and stuff like that. And then, you know, like, that's what football is all about. You know, it's ups and downs, it's never perfect. So just going through it, like, we just being able to really use that as motivation going into the next season. Like, you know, we didn't finish how we wanted it to, but, you know, that's fuel for the fire, so.
Let me tell you about our friends over at Centris Federal Credit Union, because they can help you get your savings on the right track. Everybody's got financial goals that they're trying to reach, and Centris is there to help you out with all their different savings programs. It starts with their Roundup program. Every time you use your Centris Visa debit card, they'll round up to the next whole dollar and transfer that money directly to your savings account. Makes saving easy, even while you have to spend. They also have great programs like their certificate and savings account bundle to help you gain a little more ground while you're saving money. Learn more and visit them online, centrisfcu.org. Terms and conditions applied. Federally insured by NCUA.
Opportunity for you today out there. How do you feel like you handled it?
100%. I felt like I made the most of my opportunity. Just preparing over these 3 weeks for bowl prep, getting better in practice, and when my time came, I felt like I made the most.
Were there things you did today that you're like, man, I might not have been able to do that 2 months ago?
Oh, 100%. Just working with Coach Snow, getting more comfortable in cover 4, just playing fast. That definitely helped a lot.
How would you describe what this last week's been like with this team?
Man, good question. I'd say just a whole lot of bonding. We really love each other. We spent a lot of time with each other. So obviously it didn't end how we wanted, but just going out knowing we fought for those seniors means a lot.
I know you shared a moment with Marquise Buford on the sideline in the game. What's he meant to you?
He's meant a lot. I told him, came in looking up to him. I saw him play from a freshman, battle a lot of injuries, and he just took me in like a little brother, even though he has one on the team. So I told him I appreciate him for that.
What do you guys need to do in the offseason to take a step forward?
Really just build off the end of this season. We definitely have a little more fuel to the fire. We didn't end how we wanted, so building off that.
How much new stuff were you guys doing defensively kind of leading up to this bowl game? I think Coach Rhule mentioned that you guys were doing some stuff that Coach Ulrich is going to be doing in the future.
Yeah, 100%. We started, it was really cover 4. We started the season cover 4, and then we kind of got away from it. So just going back to it and building off that. I'm excited for what we can do next year.
Who are some other younger guys you liked out there? Saw what they did today.
Jay Rett, Justin Rett getting more opportunities. And even at the end, the D-line, Mason Goldman, Maverick Noonan, I know he's leaving, but just to see those guys come in and make some plays with the opportunities they had is really cool to see.
You individually, what are the things that you really want to work on and get better at?
Really, I know it's cliche, but bigger, stronger, faster. Just improving my body. And got a little glimpse of it today, being able to play a full game. It's a long season. I plan on playing a lot more snaps next year, so building my body for next year.
It's that holiday season, and people start thinking, maybe it's time to get a little head start on our New Year's resolutions. And one way you can get a jump start on that is by going to our friends over at Next Gen Male Medical. Whatever it is that you need to get feeling your best, whether it's weight loss, whether it's testosterone therapy, peptides, maybe you just need a little vitamin B boost to get to feeling like yourself again, Next Gen has you covered. And it's not just for men. I know it says male in the title there, but they treat women as well for all the same issues, hormones, peptides, whatever men or women need to get to feeling their best. Next Gen Male Medical has you covered. Give them a call, 402-614-9700. It is not just another place that's going to say, hey, you need these hormones or whatever. They're going to talk to you, see what you want to feel your best and what you feel like your best is, and they'll help you find a plan to get there. And it's Next Gen Male Medical. Again, 402-614-9700.
What was the challenge today that Utah put out there?
I could probably say the challenge was execute. We got to execute. I felt like communicate better, probably the scheme. So I feel like that was a challenge.
Where do you feel like the communication issues were the biggest?
Probably when they was calling tempo, and we trying to get the call and get everybody else the communication. So I felt like that's a big part, because if one person messed up, we need all 11 on the defense. If one person messed up, it messed up the whole defense. So I feel like that we got to communicate so everybody can be on the same page.
Are you planning on being back next year?
Yes, sir.
You spent a couple weeks with your new defensive coordinator. What can this defense look like next year?
You're going to see a lot of fast, physical violence, people flying to the ball, like a black shirt defense.
For you personally, I mean, this is kind of your first go-through as a full-time starter. I mean, what did you feel like you learned about yourself as a player this season?
I'd probably say my athleticism. I could, like, fly to the ball. I think my trigger, like, reacting quicker. So I feel like that's, like, a big part that I learned about myself.
Who are some younger guys that you felt like played well today?
Caleb Bennett. I respect Caleb Bennett, Mir, Donovan stepped up today. Keona, I feel like Roddy stepped up, so I feel like them young guys will come back next year. We're gonna be great, special.
That was you last year. What's your advice to them now going into the offseason?
Just got to keep putting the work in, keep putting in the work. Get in the film room, study. We got to lift, get bigger, because Big Ten ain't no joke. So I feel like we got to lift and get stronger.
It's the season of savings at Edwards Buick Chevrolet. Lease the 2025 Buick Envista Preferred starting at $249 a month. Luxury, wrapped and ready for the holidays. More reasons to celebrate this season. Or lease the 2026 Chevrolet Trax LS starting at $259 a month. Compact style, ready to roll into the new year. Your season of savings starts at Edwards Buick Chevrolet.
Good morning. Welcome in Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centrist Federal Credit Union. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. What's up, DB?
And for Borsheim's, it is our big game chain player of the game.
Sasha Durkin here with Husker volleyball coach Danny Busboom Kelly.
Ahead of the fall season, Harper Murray joining me now.
And Mike Sauter here with Nebraska men's basketball, the rink master.
Joined now by John Cook at the First Serve Showcase.
All right, well, Dylan, thanks for sitting down with us. I know we're in the thick of fall camp.
Omaha native Harrison Phillips is entering year 8 in the NFL.
You're watching Hurrdat Sports.
Last call to make this last forever. One shot to never start another. Right here, I don't think we should ever let go, let go, let go. One night we'll look back on each other. That call made us start to wonder. I don't know how we could have ever let go, let go, let go. Last call.
A successful financial future is built one coin at a time. Whether you're just starting out or a seasoned saver, we've got the financial resources and team of experts who will be with you every step of the way. Centris Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.